welcome to week 7 of 3 Ireland's EStars. Good evening, I'm Conor Phillips and we're live at the University of Limerick.
That's right, we've touched down here in Limerick. We've come quite some way, haven't we? Travelling right across Ireland. We've been in Cork, we've been in Sligo, Dundalk, Dublin, and now here we are in Limerick. And the stakes are definitely getting higher.
Yeah, we are literally days away from teams going head-to-head against each other at the 3 Arena in Dublin. They're playing for €20,000 and also playing for a chance to go to Las Vegas as well. So it's getting tighter tonight. This is the first night when properly we can see a team's eliminated from the competition.
Well, we do have a few teams already who have slipped right down to the bottom of that table, maybe no longer in contention for the playoffs at the 3 Arena in Dublin. Some will be playing for pride, which is just as important, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of a bit tense as well when you were talking about the relationship with the players, kind of behind the scenes. A couple of weeks ago, jovial, happy, bubbly. A few decisions have to be made. There's a few team and member changes we're going to be talking about later on have to be made as well. And this is going to be, I think tonight is going to be a pivotal night. So wherever you're watching across the world on Twitch, good evening. We're going to be with you for the next 2 or 3 hours, and we're going to be focusing on this.
So this is the biggest competition Ireland has ever seen. The biggest esports tournament of its kind to take place in this country. Thank you for watching over the past few weeks. Let's get a bit more information now from our commentators, shall we?
The experts.
The experts. Let's get a bit more information from them. They know far more than we do. It's time for Nikita and David.
Thanks a lot, Connor and Holly. Really enjoyed that intro and really excited about the games. And it has been great here. It's just started raining actually, but it's been the most beautiful afternoon here in Limerick.
Yeah, certainly down here in Limerick for week 7 of the competition. So we're getting there. We're on the home stretch, I think, and these teams, especially around the top of the table, right now in the thick of the battle for the playoffs.
And it's still so close around that top, especially after first or second place. That's where everyone is kind of within 1 or 2 games. So every week really counts. And I mean, there's only 3 games to go, so that this is it.
Yeah, certainly. We have a lot of teams with various different matchups that will be fighting for those playoff positions. Certainly, I think one of the first matches we have is Sligo against Bow. Sligo Rovers, one of the teams at the top of the table, currently 4-2. So they were tied for second place right now, up against Bohemians, who after a loss last week were effectively eliminated from contention. I think mathematically there's still some universe in which they can make it, but it is like
it's one of those
so
things,
unlikely at this point.
It's one of those things like Jat would love this because he did all his math and like drawing across everything, but really it's unfortunate, but they're not in it. But I was talking to Kexius, the top laner of Sligo, and he was like, watch me, I'm going to dominate this match. So big words, but hopefully he'll deliver. Definitely, I mean, it's exciting because even teams like Limerick, we saw them win 1 game, but this is their opportunity. And if they win, even though they are definitely out of contention, they can have such a huge impact by just taking a game off. So it's really important not to underestimate them, because if they do get away with it,
yeah, especially at this point, if you are one of those top teams, you do not want to be dropping the games against these teams lower down the table, giving over those wins that you'd be hoping to get for yourself if you are in the competition. We talked about Limerick. This is their home game today. They're against Team 3. I believe that's later on. So excited for that one. Let's see if Limerick can pull an upset. I think the first game as well, Bows are a team who looked very good at the start of the competition. So we have seen them be strong. Obviously have fallen upon harder times recently, which has led to them being knocked out. But they can really challenge their opponents, I think, on their day. Yeah,
and especially in the early weeks, they were playing really well. And I think the thing is they had just some very tight matchups, which were really close. So the scoreline and scoreboard doesn't necessarily do it justice, because at the end of the day, they could have won those matches, and it was incredibly close. And if a couple of those games had gone the other way, I think they would definitely be in contention. But that's kind of the story of the tournament, and unfortunately, it's just one of those things. But they should feel at least happy that they challenge the top teams, take something away from it, but they can't be overlooked. And I think really what comes down to is consistency, and that's something that's plagued some of these teams that have shown flashes of kind of greatness, and others but then at other times have lost quite decidedly, whereas Team 3 and Sligo, who are at the top of the leaderboards, are the ones who have been the most consistent week in, week out.
I mean, talking about Sligo, who right now I think are one of the most informed teams in the league, at a rough start, but a couple of their early losses were against the teams who actually proved to be top contenders, and Since then, they have been on a tear. We're looking at their matchup here as they look to go to a 4-game winning streak if they take their win today here over Bose. But jumping into the pick ban, start this one off. Sejuani, pretty standard ban here is the first one for Sligo. Echo is a little bit more targeted, I think, towards Dragonship in that mid lane.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Sejuani standard Echoes undoubtedly targeted. I think we've seen it a couple of times, actually. A few teams have. And it's like the Katarina ban against Limerick and so on. There's definitely a few players that are very well known for their champions and just avoiding them. Braun being banned out, and he's definitely been a priority for a couple of teams with first pick. Caitlyn being removed on the other side, and I mean, at the moment, I would say she's probably the best ADC.
Yeah, certainly.
Especially since some of the nerfs.
Yeah, the ability to control the lane, I think, is one that a lot of teams in this competition are really valuing, and I know Bohemians as well, given their bot lane focus, are a team who do like that champion. They also like the Sejuani, which has been denied. You know, last ban for Bohemians is the Kaisa in that bottom lane, so a little bit of targeting towards Sligo's own duo. 380 carry bans actually will pinch those pools quite a bit, and especially for Bohemians who are so dependent on Ted Blonde, it's going to be interesting to see what they default to with all those champions gone away.
Yeah, it is interesting because in this situation, do you actually first pick or pick it in the first rotation, or do you leave it to later one? Because now that the top pick ADCs have been removed, well, how much of a priority do you put on the other ones? But the Kaiser ban, I know we're thinking it's an ADC ban, but actually a couple of the junglers have been saying that it was their pick and it's been banned against them rather than the ADC. But Azir being picked.
The first pick Azir for Bohemians. They are using a substitute with a little bit of a role swap. They have Beely Ray, their normal mid laner, actually moving to the jungle for this game, with Fate stepping in the mid lane. And he likes his Azir quite a bit, so happy to get his hands on that with the very first pick. Looking like the response will be the Trundle here potentially for Sligo. I think one of the top tier junglers right now, if not at the apex of that jungle meta. Yeah,
I was just about to say that actually, is that it's an interesting one because we obviously had Olaf and Sejuani at the very top. Sejuani's been removed, but Trundle as that counter to the Olaf now it kind of creates this interesting dynamic is that is Olaf as good? Or is actually Trundle better, and it's quite interesting like how that works, and especially I think Trundle matched up with the right ADC can just destroy objectives so quickly that it's a deadly pick if in the right hands.
Yeah, we saw Dakin on the Trundle last week actually get MVP for the week, so getting that champion back in his hands again, partnering it with the Cho'Gath in the top lane. So nice objective secure, like you said. The response will be the Tristana from Bohemians. I think that bot lane focus is pretty important. I'd expect them to maybe match the top lane here, or maybe they go for the bot lane lock-in. Because either way, I think they'll avoid the jungle, considering they do have the substitute jungler here. But it's certainly Bohemians could go a number of ways, given that they have gone for very different positions, I think, with their first couple of picks.
Yeah, I mean, well, Azir is definitely a very strong first pick. Tristana, quite a strong one afterwards. I wonder, are they going to go for their support? And yeah, okay, so they lock that in. So they go for the Thresh. Definitely some great pick potential with the Thresh if he's able to isolate someone. Damage coming out of Azir and Tristana can delete them pretty quickly. But we'll see what Sligo responds with.
They have to pick one of the 3 roles to match here and give over priority on the other 2. I would wager an 80 carry pick. No, they're actually going to go for support here. Bohemians have the opportunity to really thin out that 80 carry pool now if they want to send their next couple of bans that way, or maybe they look to create a good matchup for the Azir as well. Either way, Bohemians I think with actually quite a bit of power given how the start of this draft has developed.
Yeah, absolutely, and I was actually going to mention that so up until the time Kench pick, they'd been picking completely separate lanes, so no overlap, and I mean in this situation, do you pinch the ADC more? With the Tom Kench, though, it makes so many kind of ADCs viable and safer. So I don't know. I would probably look at targeting mid lane because you can really close that out, and the Azir is very strong. So
and potentially deny those counter picks, I think, and it could work out. Dr. Mundo is a ban I did not expect there. That is. I don't think it's even something that Bohemians have really gone for. Maybe it's a jungle pick that they're trying to deny. I have no idea.
I've been hearing rumblings that Mundo in the top lane, patch 8.8, there was something like I remember reading something, but he just can be incredibly annoying. And maybe it's jungle, maybe as a jungler, but there was something with patch 8.8, and I think the items and the way things were done, that it changed as a pro player who's saying like it just incredibly annoying if you don't know what to expect,
Yeah.
maybe through scrimming. But Varus and Karma coming out as bands on the side of Bohemian, so strong ADC, and Karma is a very good mid, or very safe mid support.
Yeah.
Mid, so and Zach coming out for Sligo. So
The Jin pick might be coming in here. I'd like this one for Sligo. Would give them, I think, just a little bit more pressure in that bot lane with that Jin pick. Could work out very nicely, but I think Bohemians now have to respond with their top lane. I imagine they normally go for that tank top laner, but obviously new player in the jungle. That's going to be where the real excitement comes in with this pick, because he's already had 2 champions at the very least taken away from him, and now has to figure out what to take into Dak and Strundle.
yeah, it's going to be it's definitely going to be challenging, and I don't know how good Billy Ray Dyrus is in the jungle. It's a synergy issue. Sion being taken in top lane, so very safe top laner, able to do well in lane. Not many counter picks. I think it really depends on Sligo's top laner champion,
Yeah.
or Kexis. It depends on what he brings out, but a lot of strong, aggressive top laners are available. Camille, Fiora,
Yeah.
Jace.
Yeah, potentially if you want to make those big plays, but both teams opting for the tanks this
Oh, sorry,
time
Cho'Gath is there.
around.
What am I
so
talking about? Sorry, I don't know. Yeah, completely.
yeah, and they're going to combine it with the
Orianna.
So
that's a very safe. So looking at the Bohemians, it's just a. Oh wait.
yeah, that's we have the 2 mid lane picks, so I'm not sure what the story is there. We have been
A jungle Azir,
a little bit bamboozled, I think,
or
with this
Azir
one.
top lane, Sion jungle.
You know what? I don't like I don't like any of these strategies. I think
I have no
that
idea
might
what
be
that's
coming out
about.
here. Yeah, that's. I do like the Corki on the side
Yeah.
of Sligo. I think that's a fantastic last pick, just given how they've already drafted around their comms. Gives them this nice source of scaling damage from the mid lane, especially with the Azir already taken away.
It absolutely does. I'm suspicious. Are we actually going to go into game?
Yeah.
Was this a misclick, or are we actually going through? So
I'm like I said. When we find out what the story is, we'll let you
We'll have
guys
to find
know.
out, yeah.
But
I'm definitely gonna say Sligo won the draft.
I do like Sligo's draft.
Yeah. We see mid laner. Mid laner.
There you go. That's we do have Bose there. Fate subbing in that mid lane. They've moved Billy Ray to the jungle position. You can see him calling out across the room. Maybe he's just saying, lads, was wrong champion. We've
Or maybe he's talking big.
Yeah.
Saying he's gonna show them
That is, we
what
do-
jungle Azir can do.
we do like a bit of trash talk here.
I
On,
mean, Dakin, you mentioned him earlier. You know what? He big words last week, and he backed them up with the Trundle. Really great pillars, great gameplay out of him, and that's why he got the MVP. So maybe that's the situation that's going to come up this week. But we'll have to wait and see and get an update from the floor to see if the match is actually going to go ahead, or whether that is kind of the strategy that Bohemians want to go with.
if it would be so out of the box if it does actually manage, or that does go through. Like I said, I'm even wondering where you assign those champions, where everybody ends up going in that case. It's an odd one.
So here's honest question here is, would you like to see them play it? Because I mean, this is not the sort of thing that you do if you haven't played it before.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a cheese strat that they really worked on, figured out, and are going to go and do, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think that it's almost too wacky. You can go for these strange picks, but taking 2 mid laners is almost too much. So I don't know. I think that they might have just gone a little bit too crazy with that one there. If that is their strategy, I'd imagine that it is just a break, because
I don't know.
yeah,
It's
or
just
some sort of issue with the blocking in the champion there. But indeed, we'll see what the story is when we do load into this one, as the players themselves are just getting ready for first game of the day here. Sligo Rovers, I think, with a much higher stake in this game, and coming in off of 3 wins in a row, looking for number 4 here against a Bose team who are do have a substitute. But I'd just like to point out, don't be too wary. We did actually see Fate earlier on in the competition, subbed in for Shamrock Rovers, I
Yeah.
believe, in week 3,
They
and
won.
he popped off that game.
Yeah, he
Was
did really, really well.
crazy on the Azir, I believe. So he's certainly the champion that he likes to go to when he's stepping in for these teams.
I mean, both Rovers are very strong teams. Again, I think like Shamrock, after losing one, have not lost since. And the big matchup we had against Team 3 was really where we expected kind of battle of the Titans. And Shamrock definitely won that in the picks and bans. And I was talking to Rengus about that, and he agreed. He was like, they just had a much better team comp that was easier to execute. But Sligo is another team that I think is actually very good, but they've just had again, close matchups, and sometimes have shown up, sometimes not so much. But here we see Sligo Rovers lineup.
And we see the stats there for all of these players. You can see it's pretty well spread out between these guys, as you would expect. Obviously a team that likes to play, I think, around those 2 carry lanes in the mid and AD carry. Dakin as well, when he has these big performances, is such a huge asset for this team. It's so tough for them to really take out. It's I mean...
Yeah, no, Dakin has definitely been, I think, someone who has kind of... I mean, it's definitely... They play a lot around the mid lane as you said, but I think Dakin has been very key to unlocking that. And when he has popped off and just kind of been playing on point, the team really looks as a real contender for taking the whole tournament.
Yes, certainly.
But again, like, this goes back to what I was saying earlier, is it's consistency that really matters. So if the best Sligo Rovers, if they qualify for the playoffs and the best of the team shows up, then they could take it. But then if they're inconsistent on that day, then that's going to be an issue, and it's something they need to really figure out and overcome.
The team has made great strides throughout the competition. Looking at Bohemians here, we do have the stats for them. Obviously, I think Fate and Billy Ray are swapping around for this game. A team that has struggled in the last couple of weeks after such promising signs at the start of the competition, have really not been able to find their rhythm in a lot of these games. They want to play around the bottom lane, but I think a lot of teams have just figured that out for the most part and are able to punish this almost one-dimensionality. But with the substitute, that actually might change things up a little bit, because now they have this really strong piece in the mid lane.
Yeah, possibly. And I mean, if the teams hadn't figured it out themselves, they definitely figured it out from our casting, because we basically mentioned it every single week. So, but you know what? It's funny, because when you look at the individual parts of this team, Billy Ray, Burnsy, definitely 2 really good players. Ted Blonde, another very good player. So it's one of those things, like, they have the individual components, and Red Panda has shown up, but it's just kind of coordination and the teamwork that has been, I think, a bit of a struggle for them. So, yeah, it's a shame. I did really doubt that they will make the playoffs, but they can't be overlooked, because, and like you say, with Fate joining them, and if he does pop off on this Azir, he could be the reason that Sligo actually doesn't make it.
Yeah, certainly. We imagine that Bohemians will still be giving it 110%. Obviously, pride is on the line, and you do want to maybe upset those top teams a little bit, make a name for yourself, and who knows, maybe the miracle does come to fruition here, and it all begins in Week 7 out here in UL. We see the players waiting for their games later on, just
drinking that sweet Lucozade.
Yeah,
as Connor would say, sometimes he gets a little bit parched. He needs a sip.
He absolutely loves his Lucozade. He's making sure everyone else.
4-star pizza.
And 4-star pizza. We love all our sponsors here, but certainly it's going to be interesting to see how this week develops. I think obviously there's a lot of those teams at the top have...
Oh, Connor, they're coming up on screen with his Lucozade. You know he loves it. He just can't stay away.
We ask and Connor delivers for us, just making sure he pops in with the Lucozade. But yeah, I think there's a lot of matchups this week that you'd have the top teams against opponents that they'd be
pointing at the camera. Just can't help it. He's excited.
Yeah, he wants another big showing. We have this game. We have, I believe it is Shamrock Rovers against... Who are Shamrock Rovers against? Is it... Oh, Shamrock Rovers against Bray. I think that's actually the...
Yes. So that's, to me, the match of the day. Because Bray, again, are a team that I think are strong, capable, but Shamrock are really just on it here. And I still maintain that Team 3 and Shamrock are the 2 best teams of the tournament. And despite Team 3's loss to Shamrock, it'll be interesting to see what happens in a best of 3 or best of 5, whatever we settle on for the finals.
Yeah.
But Bray are definitely a team that could beat them, and I think are definitely gunning to end that win streak.
Yes, certainly. Bray, a team who also have looked a little bit more dodgy after a fantastic start to the competition. They were one of the teams, I think, to find their groove the earliest, but have fallen out of it almost, I think, the last couple of weeks. Will be a fantastic opportunity for them to bounce back this week and manage to turn their fortunes around against the top team in the league. And considering that a lot of their opponents, like St. Pat's, are playing Derry, who are at the bottom of the table, Team 3 are playing Limerick, who are down towards the bottom of the table. We've Sligo Rovers here. Bray have a much trickier matchup, I think, against the number 1 team in the league. So if they could steal that upset, that would be a huge sigh of relief coming into this one, where they're coming in as the underdog.
No, absolutely. I think it will be massive for them, and then it creates a very interesting triangle, because if Bray can beat Sligo and Sligo can beat 3 and 3 beat Bray, then how does it actually work? How does it match up when we're looking at that playoffs? And that's a lot of the teams definitely must be looking to those playoffs and like what's going to happen there. How are they going to match up against those other teams, and what are they going to be able to do? So that's definitely going to be a huge thing without a doubt. It'd be great actually at some point. I'm sure we'll have the team rankings coming up in a second, and there we go. Ask and ye shall deliver. So as we can see, Shamrock Rovers sitting at 5-1, but still, again, only 1 win ahead of Bray and Sligo, and 3 and St. Pat's. So this massive 4-way tie, and this has kind of been the whole tournament. We've just had tie after tie. Every team just kind of constantly so close within one another, from one another, and yeah.
There's a lot to play for. You can see that huge tie for second place with all those teams on 4 and 2. It's going to be interesting to see how that tiebreaker works out, I think, because I'm almost guaranteeing there will be teams on level scores, given just the amount of upsets we're getting throughout the competition here. And then even below that, we still have Dundalk, who are looking so threatening in their last couple of matches that they could make that run back if they keep picking up wins against top competition. We saw them beat Team 3 last week, who we had pegged as one of the top teams in the league. So they're certainly a dark horse that are trying to make a run back through the table to steal away one of those playoff spots.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's Dundalk and Cork sitting at 3 and 3, so only 1 spot behind the 4 teams that are tied in second place. And so the top 4 teams are going to go and play in the playoffs at the 3 arena. So a huge prize pool, €20,000, trip to Vegas on the line, but so much pride, and all the teams are definitely looking towards it. So there's no doubt in my mind that, you know, the teams are all gunning for it, but just so close.
Certainly,
4 can make it.
Exactly. Actually, that's the last match we have later on today. Is that Cork against Dundalk game, which is both of the teams, like you said, 3 and 3. A loss would put them out here, and Cork managing to pull off quite a nice upset last week. Maybe they could do that again and keep up the upset streak that they've managed to, or the reputation they've gotten for themselves.
I know, but this is the thing. It's like, again, if whoever wins the Cork and the Bray will then suddenly take a step up, and then the next teams, if there are any upsets there, suddenly it creates another tiebreaker for maybe 3rd and 4th place there.
Yeah.
So it is really tricky. I mean, if Bray are able to beat Sligo, then Sligo and Bray are tied for 1st place. And then if Team 3 and who else? If Team 3 and Sligo win, then they're also tied for 1st place. So suddenly we have a 4-way tie for first.
There's so many different ways. We could actually technically have a 5-way tie for 1st place.
We could
at the end of the day. And all it takes, I think, is for Bray to beat Sligo, and then I think all the other results that we have to go as we predict. Although we do that a lot, and we've seen a lot of upsets throughout the competition, so
we have.
We tend not to stick to the status quo here in 3 Ireland EStars. There's a lot of teams, and Bo's the next team up to the plate looking for an upset. You can't forget their big win against Bray in week 3 that kind of got this team a lot of attention. Since then, it has not been too rosy for them, though, but you can see the players getting ready for the game. Very seeming pretty intense. They will want to upset the bracket as much as possible. That's it. Playing for pride here. Got to try take away these wins just to close out the campaign with as much pride as possible here, and as high a place as you can get, really.
Yeah, without a doubt. We can see Rengus and Dano, who is now, what's his new... Zoinkers in the background there, stepping off stage. Yeah, no, I think Bows have a lot to prove, not just to themselves, but like to kind of fans and friends and so on. And they definitely want to. And I think Fate. Fate. It's something like, so he's been a sub for a couple of teams. First showing great performance. If he can repeat it here, I know a lot of teams will be looking to him for next year's.
Yes, certainly a player who people will have their eyes on, I think, anyway. But another big showing here, and he will, like you said, then maybe next time around there'll be teams looking to get him on board as much as possible here. I'm excited to see how it goes. He's against a very experienced mid laner in Dragonship, so that is going to be a very interesting matchup, I think, and one that could have a pretty big bearing on how this game actually works out.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think we'll be hopping into game very shortly. Here we go.
This is the biggest challenge of their lives. This is the fastest growing spectator sport in the world.
They seriously don't understand how good I am at this game, and we are going to win this.
And we're on the Rift.
Already these teams in. You can see them running into each other early on in this one. Sligo Rovers and Bohemians. Bohemians on the blue side, Sligo on the red. Sligo, once again, looking to keep up quite a nice winning streak as they have, over the last couple of weeks, really met their pre-tournament potential by managing to really put up good fights against some of the strongest teams in the league. Now really well poised for the playoffs, considering their schedule to close out the competition isn't as difficult as maybe some of their competitors at the top of the table here. A win against Bohemians would keep the momentum going, but Bohemians with that substitute in the mid lane. It was actually a Jarvan pick. That was what we were missing out on the pick and ban.
Slight, there's, just so you guys know, the Bohemians and Sligo has just been swapped over and it's just been corrected by our producers. So there we go, but Jarvan pick being chosen, not the Orianna as the final pick as you mentioned. Jarvan, not a bad pick, fairly solid, able, if he gets ahead, and definitely if he combos with an Azir and a Tristana, can do a lot of damage, lock people down, so definitely a champion.
We actually see already a very early gank coming out from this Jarvan. They're looking to take out Devil, and the kill comes in so quick. First blood for Bohemians, looking to make it 2 if they can get to the Tam Kench. Blue Bullberry flashing away, but my oh my, Bohemians with the really early gank in that bottom lane.
Yeah, and forcing out the flash from Blue Bullberries already, so putting their bot lane ahead, and as we've mentioned so often, it's definitely the lane that Bohemians want to play around. So the fact that it's gone so well, they got on first blood, it went over to the Jarvan, but the assist went over to Thresh and Tristana, which is definitely a good thing. And a kill on a Jarvan is not a bad thing because it gives him a little bit extra gold and he can get ahead.
Exactly.
It'll be interesting to see what he builds, damage or tank.
And Jarvan, a champion that you want to be making early plays on if you take him in that jungle position, and Beely Ray with those early plays coming out even earlier than we would have expected here, but Dakin may have the opportunity to look for a counter if he can get into that top lane here and really catch up the Sion. The knockup will come through. A lot of chain CC with Red Panda flashing away. Nice safe flash from the Bo's top laner.
Yeah, no hesitation there, just going for a safe lane, knowing that Sligo are definitely trying to get the goal back and give the advantage over to Kexis, who I said, you know, told me before the game started today that he was going to get himself that MVP, so definitely gunning for it, and we'll see what happens. The Dragonship versus Fate in the mid lane. Now, who do you prefer? Player-wise and champion?
It's difficult to say because we've seen so little of Fate. I think the Azir is probably a stronger mid laner right now than the Corki, but Corki matches him, I think, in terms of scaling, and the playmaking potential that can come out using that package is something that Bohemians will have to keep an eye out on, especially if Sligo want to go more towards that bot lane to try shut down Ted Blonde, who didn't take away the kill from that first gank, but should be in a little bit of a better spot. You can see the farm that he managed to get over that Jhin just off the back of that gank coming through. So certainly Dragonship, veteran player, will have some idea of what to do with this Corki and how it fits into his team strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I agree with you. I do think Azir is kind of a more powerful pick at the moment, but it's not. So that's saying more something about Azir being strong rather than Corki being weak. And I think Corki in the hands of the right player can definitely output so much damage that he can take advantage. And it creates a kind of situation something that's also harder to itemize.
Oh, we're actually seeing Dakin creep into that bottom lane here. Tedlon and Birdsey may look to escape. They're trying to knock Tedblond out of the rocket jump, forcing his flash away. I believe that was both flashes from those two. So Bo's bot lane now a lot more susceptible to repeat gank if Dakin does want to give it a try.
Yeah, no, definitely. Good kind of aggression coming out of the Sligo bot lane there, and a lot of it was done around Blue Bulberry and the Jhin. So they were able to kind of push in, and then Dakin just forcing the final flashes out. So hopefully relieving some of that pressure. But at the same time, we haven't seen Tedblond go back to base to spend the gold that he does have.
And Tedblond.
So it will be interesting to see what happens when that happens.
With Bo's AD carry, happy to stay in the lane right now and just get as much farm in as possible. Those crit AD carries always have their eye on the BF for his back. But Beely Ray looking for the gank here, going to flash forward. Blue Bulberry dodges out of the combination, but this Tahm Kench does not have the flash to get away. However, we do see Dakin looking for the counter gank. The damage does come through, and they take out the Tahm Kench here, but the kill comes back in onto Beely Ray. Devils is low on mana, but still should be able to put out the auto attacks. All the defense being used here by Bo's to try escape. In comes the crit with the 4th shot. Double kill for Devils. Sligo answer perfectly. They might be able to get Tedblond as well, as Dakin keeps forward with the damage. Not enough to really threaten this Tristana, but even so, Sligo make it 2 for 1 with that counter gank.
Yeah, really good counter gank coming out of Dakin. He really read it and knew that they were going to be focusing on it. We see Corki from Dragon Ship rotating down to try and pick off the Tristana, but Tedblond backing off safely, and Corki's just going back into the mid lane. But Dakin once again showing that he really earned that MVP last week by and doing it again this week by just reading his opponent and putting himself in a good position and able to turn around what was a losing lane.
The Jarvan putting out that early pressure, but Dakin acquainting himself to what Beely Ray is trying to do and finding the right time for the counter gank. Makes it a 1 for 2, getting both those kills on the Jhin, and we've seen Devils and Blue Bulberry going aggressive in that lane. With all that damage coming through now for Devils, that should only make that even scarier for Bohemians here. Burnsy stepping forward to just see the Drake going down. Ocean Drake to Sligo, going to help them out a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely, and Ocean Drake is one of the best Drakes to grab early on in the game just because it helps your laning phase so much. So sub 7 minutes for
Burnsy might be caught out here. I don't know how he gets away from this. He's locked up by the Deadly Flourish, trying to pull the J4 in, but he will be gobbled up and spat out by Blue Bulberry for the kill. And now I think Beely Ray might be going down. Goes over the wall with the EQ combo. No way for the members of Sligo to catch up with him, so he will escape, but that's another kill on the board for Sligo.
Yeah, and that nearly was 2 kills. Thresh bringing in Beely Ray was, I think, a little bit overly aggressive. I'm not sure what he was thinking, and if Beely Ray hadn't gotten away just in time, he would have died as well, which would have been 2 kills going over to Sligo and put them in a much stronger position. But as of yet, they're only a couple of 500 gold, 600 gold ahead of Bohemians. But what started off looking so good for the Bohemians with that first blood is now looking a little bit shakier.
It was a nice call to go for that early gank in the bottom lane, but not really able to do too much following that. And as a result, Sligo have their AD carry sufficiently fed. All 3 kills for that team in that bottom lane. Devils and Blue Bulberry can certainly match the power lane of Bohemians now, given the advantage that they've gotten for themselves.
Yeah, and Dakin's been involved in every single kill so far. Now, it's only 3, but nonetheless, it just shows that he's really putting himself in the right spot at the right time.
And certainly, all the solo laners 0-0 and 0, so they've been relatively quiet so far, I think. It's all been about this bot lane, and as a result, Sligo have themselves a nice advantage. A little bit under 1k gold in their favor, but they will definitely take it, given how they're set to develop here. And I imagine that we're not going to see the action waver from this bottom lane anytime soon, especially when Dragon Ship starts looking to make moves when Corki gets that package.
Yeah, I mean, definitely another good showing from Fate. I mean, his second time playing on stage, so the fact that he's keeping up is a good thing. We'll just have to see what they're able to do, but the Sheen being completed for Corki is definitely a nice little power spike. Have to see what happens here, but at the moment, Jhin sitting at 2 longswords, so more damage for him than the Tristana at this point in time.
And certainly, I imagine he is going towards that Essence Reaver with those items and should be able to grab it pretty nicely. Brinzy though with the flash flay, looking for the hook, but a nicely timed gobble by Blueberry, flashing out of the Cataclysm as well, and it all goes right. The curtain call actually coming out here, and the collapse is coming through for Sligo Rovers, seeing where they can lock up. Kexi flashing forward, able to get the rupture here, just needs to get in range of Beely Ray to finish him off, but the damage is coming back out from Bose. Tenball gets the kill onto the Cho'Gath, and now they have to run away. They tried to take out Red Panda, but he flashes to safety. Bohemians, with the collapse on the other side, managed to actually take away one kill. Fate now thinking if he can sneak into this bottom lane, maybe the Azir can clean a few up, but he is too far away. However, given how that started for Bohemians, they will be thrilled walking away with the one kill.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they managed to turn it around completely, and I think Kexius overestimated how tanky he was and went in a bit too far, and Tedblom was able to put out a lot of damage on him.
Ooh,
fixing
Dragon Ship.
some 2 kills for him.
Nearly bursting down the Jarvan there, but the Corki not really having the damage yet to secure that one. It was a nice try from him, but nothing coming of it. However, Sligo still maintain their lead off the back of that kill in gold and looking to keep that pushed over. So nice call from Bohemians, but I think a few more plays like that are warranted for them to move ahead in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just want to bring attention to Red Panda and Kexius. I mean, great Kexius with first with the teleport, but Red Panda matched him instantly. So great reactions and communications coming out, or coordination rather, with their team. So that was really nicely done. But we see Kexius dying, unfortunately, overextending himself. Red Panda exposing himself a little bit, but he gets the assist, whereas Kexius gets the death. So be interesting to see how this continues on.
See some posing for the blue buff here, but Fate taking a bit of damage as the Corki gets us back to lane. Dakin though being collapsed on here by the Scion. Beely Ray looking to chain the CC, and I think this Trundle might just be going down. Subjugate comes out, but just one more auto attack. However, they cannot get to Dakin. Beely Ray flashing away now. Might go over the wall with the blast cone. If he has the Dragon Strike, he does have it, and Dakin eventually falls after nearly escaping.
And we see the question marks on the map. Why was Dakin, who got away after Kexius comes in with an incredible silence, saving him at 1 hit basically, and then he stays to clear a ward? Why would you do that?
A greedy play from Dakin there, but also nice awareness from Beely Ray to realize I flash away from this. Not only do I save myself from potentially being picked off, I can go over the wall with the blast cone and secure the kill on this guy who's hanging around all confident, trying to take away my ward. Nice call from Bose, and once again, these are the kinds of plays that they need, showing good coordination even with the substitute in the lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. And Billy Ray just jumped over, very good awareness, and noticing the plant was right there, and that he had enough distance. So it's just bad play coming out of Dakin, basically throwing away what was closer to 1,000 gold lead, and it's now within 200 gold.
We do have a pause coming out between these two teams, but certainly interesting start to this game. A lot closer, I think, than maybe I expected, but Beely Ray on this Jarvan pick, putting out quite a bit of pressure.
Yeah.
Not always working out for Bohemians, but over the last few minutes, they've seemingly settled back into the game and are really taking it to Sligo Rovers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen Beely Ray basically be all over the map. He's been focusing on the bot lane, got them ahead with the first kill. Unfortunately, next was kind of turned around and gave over 2 kills, but since then, there have been a number of instances where things have just barely gone in the way of Bohemians and kept the game very close. And I wonder, I mean, it's good play coming out of Bohemians, but I definitely think Sligo have come into this matchup maybe a little bit overconfident.
And potentially, and looking at Bohemians and their composition, the fact that they do have those pair of hyper carries is something that they can always really fall back on when it gets to the late game. We've seen Ted Blonde able to pick up a couple of kills for himself, so he's in a great spot. We saw Fate there as well as the Azir, always able to scale pretty nicely. Still been kept out of the action for the most part, but it can certainly do some damage as we get back into this game. That's something that Sligo will have to worry about. Another pause.
Back into the game, back into the pause quickly. Hopefully it will be resolved very quickly again. But yeah, no, Ted Blonde's sitting, he's definitely, if you funnel the gold towards him, he can use it. And someone like Tristana and Azir together, they really can bully another team and just start taking over and taking towers extremely quickly. And they have a lot of zoning potential with the Scion and the Jarvan. So it's a very good team comp all across the board, basically, when I'm looking at Bohemians, because they have the Thresh for the pick potential as well. So it's just, if given gold or allowed to hit their item spikes, and if Sligo are not on the ball and are going to make mistakes, like staying in the brush when you're like 10 HP to clear a ward, and give over those kills, they're going to pay for it. And Bohemians are a good enough team that they can take that small gold advantage and then start to snowball it into an objective, into a Drake, and then use those power spikes to then take even more.
And it's still a very, very close game between these two teams, and it's certainly Sligo will probably be kicking themselves a little bit because they got a lot out of that bottom lane, but since then we just talked about the mistakes that they've been making. They thought they had that fight under bot lane tower, but it managed to be turned around into one more kill. Dakin thought he'd gotten away, but hung around a little bit too long, and they're just throwing bows, I think, a few lifelines that they don't really need to. And this is a team who, obviously they have the lot of tanks and they have two carries that can scale nicely enough, but even then they have to be wary of what bows can do when it gets to those later stages and just clean up their play for the moment.
Yeah, nice bit of aggression coming out of Kexius on Red Panda, who's at half health, but I doubt we will be seeing solo kills from these two tanks, to be honest. Dakin clearing out a ward.
We saw what happened to him last time he tried that.
Like, ooh, risky.
He's got to be wondering where the enemy team is. It is an Infernal Drake up, so big objective for either of these teams to get. Right now, you can see that the members of Bows are hanging out the back of that Dragon Pit. Nice vision as well here for Sligo Rovers. They are going to lock up Burnsy, but...
And they've rotated Red Panda, who back to base down, so I think they're definitely going to be forcing this Drake. Now it'll be interesting to see whether what Kexius does as a response, because he probably has figured out by now that Panda is not coming back to the lane, and he's backing.
Burnsy caught out by the Deadly Flourish. He's taking quite a bit of poke as these two teams posture around the Infernal Drake, and it's actually going to be started up here by Sligo. Will make Bows make a move towards it themselves here, so Sligo might just be angling for the fight. They're already getting quite a nice bit of poke damage out on the side. Curtain Call actually being used by this Jhin, so they're just looking to force members away, and they might have got a pick onto Red Panda as a result. He tries to get away with the unstoppable onslaught, but Dragon Ship jumps in front of it. Billy Ray trying to get a return kill, but once again Tam Kench to the rescue. Sligo Rovers just maneuvering around that Infernal Drake to force Bohemians into an uncomfortable position, and they find the pick.
I mean, great move out of Dragon Ship, who saw Panda trying to escape and dived in front of him to stop the ultimate and then finish him off, because he knew they had the damage to do that. But really poor coordination there from Bohemians. They had 5 people, they rotated Panda down, but then they split up and didn't really do anything with their numbers advantage and enabled Sligo to not only get the kill, but now take the Infernal Drake.
Yeah, and Billy Ray was angling over the wall, seeing if he could get one, but throwing out his Demacian standard a little too early meant that there was no real opportunity for him to try jump into the pit and steal it. Obviously a tough call whenever you're against the Cho'Gath. Kexius is not using the feast on the dragon that time around. I'm not sure if it was available, but in any case, Sligo walk away with the Infernal Drake, and after a rough series of events in and around those pauses, they'll be happy to have not only the kill from it, but that big objective on their side.
Yeah, and it's definitely, you know, the Infernal Drake is, I think, going to add to Jhin and Corky's long-range damage. Just their ability to constantly poke, and then paired with the slight regen that they're getting from the Ocean Drake, it's going to make these walls of attrition that much harder for Bohemians. The only range damage they really have is Ted Blond. Azir's range has been nerfed a couple of patches ago, so he no longer has that. He has to be a little bit closer in that danger zone.
Certainly, Bohemians will need to find a way to work around Sligo, who, for the most part, have just been a little bit more clued in when it comes to managing these fights, when it comes to finding them or avoiding them. Blueberry looking to get aggressive here on the Tam Kench. So far, this Thresh pick hasn't been too fantastic for Burnsy. A lot of the plays he makes in the lane either have been just a little overly aggressive and countered, or been negated by the Tam Kench, who was picked into the Thresh.
Yeah, it has been, and I think he's telegraphed a little bit when he's tried to bring Billy Ray Dyrus in from behind or from the jungle. He's telegraphed through his lane movements, and they've been well read by the Sligo side. The Tam Kench pick also is just a very nice counter, who's able to eat someone up, whoever's in danger. he's definitely a champion who can be incredibly frustrating to play against. And I remember when he came into the game, the meta suddenly slowed down significantly because the other teams weren't able to finish off anyone that they focused on. But Blue Bilberry has been doing a great job saving Dragonship when he was weaker, negating a number of in-lane ganks and aggression from the side of Bohemian. So we'll have to see if that continues on as people start to scale up.
These players are beginning to find their footing on the side of Sligo. You see the bot lane once again. Every time it just seems to be this poke damage almost coming through. Devil's using the Deadly Flourish to not only root the enemy, but it just the damage chipping away constantly at the health bars of Tedblon and Burnsy is putting the Tristana and Thresh in a trickier spot than they would like. And Tristana, as this crit AD carry is going to take quite a while to get to that point, but Jin already got quite a nice bit of AD stacking, especially with the Infernal Drake to amp it up, means he's in a fantastic spot. And the damage already done to this tower means that Tedblon and Burnsy could be dived here. The early flash onto this Thresh, but he's locked up and he should be going down here. Subjugate on him and everything. Blue Bilberry is actually the one who gets the kill. Support on support violence, and that will be the tower as well going over to Sligo. Quite a nice gold swing for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Really nice rotations from them. Every single time we've seen Dakin come down for the gank, Dragonship has always been really close behind, and once again he's there just to provide that extra little bit of support, that extra little bit of damage. So Sligo are really looking great, and forcing out the flash from Billy Ray Dyrus, who was actually fairly safe. I mean, he's in his jungle, but we can see the ward coverage from Sligo it's not really Bohemian's bot lane jungle anymore. And with the first tower gold, they're now sitting at about 3k gold lead.
Yeah, certainly it is. Nice. We do actually Fate though in the mid lane managed to get a solo kill onto that one. Nice one there onto the Corki. So at least something swinging out there from Bohemians as they manage to take away that kill. So if anything, despite their bot lane beginning to fall by the wayside, their mid laner is stepping up now on this Azir.
He definitely is, but we need to see Fate do a little bit more, because whilst he's managed to get one kill, he's still a little bit behind. And what can he do with the rest of the team? Because him getting a solo kill isn't enough.
Indeed, he needs to do a little bit more. Still down on that farm. We see both solo lanes are in the favor of Sligo Rovers in that regard, as well as Devils over Tedblon in the bottom lane. All these slight CS leads will add up to just that little edge in terms of gold extra, tacking onto that 3k gold lead that they currently possess here. We're approaching the 20-minute mark, and with Sligo at the advantage that they have, are in a really good position to just control the rift. And if they can start knocking down more of these outer towers, it will put Bohemians in an incredibly tricky spot.
Yeah, and we can see them pressuring the top lane tower, which is already at below half, so that's definitely concerning. We'll have to see if they're able to convert. Mid lane tower's doing pretty good. It seems to be over half health at the very least, but none of Sligo's towers have any significant amount of damage on them. But the Infinity Edge being finished on the Tristana is definitely a good thing, but at the same time on the other side we have an Essence Reaver and a Rapid Fire Cannon being finished on the Jhin, so he's in a very good position. Kexius taking this tier 2 bot lane tower, and at the same time in the top lane Sligo Rovers have grown to grab the top lane turret. So that's 2 turrets taken within 10 seconds, and it's now putting them at a 5k gold lead. So Sligo really using these power spikes and the strength that they're at this point to just kind of bully Bohemians and grab all outer turrets as well as the first tier 2 in the bot lane.
Bohemians just quite slow on the defense there of these lanes, and Kexius looking for the roam mid lane, seeing if he can catch out anybody, but Burnsy and Fate already pretty far back. However, they have a lot of pressure as they move these members up, and the real worry I think for Bohemians under this tower is one little bit of CC can be followed up so easily by the rest of Sligo Rovers. They can turn it very quickly into a pick and really open up the map for themselves. Infernal Drake is actually up here, but they might have got Billy Ray a little bit too far forward. He was looking for the engage, but is just caught out. Nice Thresh Lantern to get him to safety, but the curtain call from Devils is going to lay down the damage from a distance. Not enough to secure a kill. Actually, Kexi's looking to flash forward with the ultimate. Not enough to take out Fate, who popped the heal to keep himself alive. With so much pressure on Bohemians here, means that this defense of the mid lane tower is incredibly difficult.
I mean, it was very clear where Sligo would focus on next, with the mid lane tower nearly half health. It was either going to be the Drake or the tower, and this was going to be the test for Bohemians. Are they able to hold off Sligo? And unfortunately, Billy Ray kind of just went too aggressive, exposed himself, and then pushed back. And at that point, Sligo Dakins just rotated over to Drake. Second Infernal Drake going over to Sligo. And that's just going to mean the poke coming out of Dragon Ship and Jin in the bot lane is going to just hurt that much more.
Sligo managing to once again up those AD and AP stats to increase the damage coming out of them. Bohemians grouped in the mid lane looking for a counter push here with that Jin topside. It's a little bit less scary for them to make the push, but a 3-man knockup from this choke and the Kexius goes on in. The Emperor's Divide is not enough to save the Thresh. Blue Bullberry on a killing spree of all people here, and now Bowser on the run once again. Blue Bullberry flashing forward to slow down Ted Blonde. He knocks away Dragon Ship and he might be able to escape, but that Tongue Lash comes back out. This Tam Kench is an absolute monster right now. Kexius able to pick up Red Panda as well, and Sligo just at that point in the game where they can run over Bohemians and there is almost no escape.
I mean, it's a 3-0, and with Ted Blonde and Red Panda being down for 20 seconds, we see Sligo pinging on Baron. I think I said they are. They're definitely very strong at the moment, so if ever there is a time to do it, it is now. And we can see Kexius picking up the Banner of Command. So that's going to be an important pickup. TP coming in from Corky to secure this Baron.
This is going.
So we're about to see a 5-man Baron on the side of Sligo. They are sitting at 8,000 gold ahead. Banner of Command is up on Kexius. He's going to be probably popping it on one of the lanes to make sure. And this is going to be incredibly difficult for Bohemians to defend against.
The deficit that Bohemians face has shot up quite significantly over the last 5 minutes or so. And Sligo are in a fantastic position to really take down these structures on the Bohemian side and accelerate their lead even further. And they were making their mistakes in the early game, but over the last while they managed to clean it up quite a bit and capitalize on the mistakes that Bohemians are making. The Bohemians on the other end just seemed desperate, almost trying to make plays, especially Billy Ray in that jungle was overreaching a few too many times, and Sligo able to punish it absolutely perfectly, as we would expect of a team of this caliber.
Yeah, and you know, I agree 100%. I was gonna say it myself. It seems that Sligo, after those small pauses, kind of focused up and realized that they were making those mistakes and just playing a little bit too confidently, and decided, you know what, we're gonna take this game seriously. And ever since then, they have just not allowed Bows to get away with any slight slip up. It's definitely been very hard to watch. Sligo doing great, but on the side of Bohemians, not great. And Billy Ray diving
once
in
again,
again.
jumps on in, and the damage comes out pretty quickly. Has the Dark Passage to once again get back to his team, but forfeiting quite a bit of pressure here. And Red Panda at the front is being locked up and taking quite a bit of damage. Ted Ball jumping away, but Dragon Ship from the back takes out the AD carry, and now he is just wreaking havoc on this backline. Double kill for him. Kexius picks up another for himself as well, and once more it all falls apart from Bohemians under the tower. And their base is set to completely implode here.
Great flank from Dragon Ship, knowing that Ted Blom would be funneled down towards that kind of gap in between the turret and the wall. Moves slightly down, and knowing his damage, Dragon Ship was just able to delete Ted Blom once he jumped back to supposed safety. Able to take him out. Really good coordination coming out of Sligo. I have to say, I'm really impressed by this Corky pick. He's been such a force backing up every single gank coming out of Dakin in the bot lane. And the whole team has just been playing after those slight pauses and kind of seem to have refocused themselves.
And Sligo just more and more momentum coming out for this team in the game. 2 inhibitors down now, and I talked about the tough defense Bohemians had to make before. Now it gets really difficult for them over the next while. They need some kind of miracle team fight. They still have these carries with the scaling damage, but considering the item differences they now currently face for both Fate and Ted Blonde, it is looking really unlikely that they're going to be able to find their way back into this one.
It absolutely is, and it's really tough, especially when your Scion or your Jarvan are jumping in and Trundle's going to steal your stats. And even if you manage to get a pick, you've got to deal with Blue Bullberry, who's going to be there to try and save them. So you either need to kill them fast enough that Blue Bullberry isn't able to save them, or you need to then kill Blue Bullberry. And at this point, it's just the Jin and the Corky are putting so much poke damage. It's
Reducing a pick coming out here. They managed to get to Dakin, and there is no chance for this Trundle. Kurgan go from the backside, might be able to slow them away, but they do manage to knock the Tom Kench back. And it's the shutdown coming in, and 2 kills for Bohemians is pretty nice. Now they're looking for number 3 onto Kexi as the Cho'Gath trying to make an escape, but they are still able to focus them out. However, Dragon Ship once again from the side doing the damage, and it doesn't matter if you take out the front line because the back line of Sligo Rovers is tearing through Bohemians. That is 2 members down on their side, Tevlon and Billy Ray. Red Pan actually going down as well, so only 2 left for them to make a defense, and is looking so unlikely here. They lock up this Thresh once more, but Dragon Ship has his eyes on the mid laner, and despite getting 2 members picked off, Sligo Rovers turn it around for the ace.
That was a 5v3 for the side of Bohemians. Kexi is playing huge there, just surviving and taking so much damage, getting a 4-man knockup in the jungle, a 4-man silence, really showing up as he said he would, and the rest of the team, Dragon Ship, putting out so much damage that even though they were 2 men down coming into that fight, they're still able to take it.
Sligo Rovers with their 4th victory in a row. This team keeping the momentum up. Things look tricky because Bohemians managed to have that really good early start. They were taking through with those ganks in the bottom lane to put the pressure on Sligo in that area, but very quickly the adaptation came through, and once it came to that mid game, then they were just completely outperforming Bohemians.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you say, Bohemians started off in a good way. They got that first blood, but it just seemed that actually Sligo were just playing maybe a bit too fast and loose and weren't taking the match seriously enough. And then once they focused up, they were, even before that actually, they were still able to turn around a number of ganks. Dakin was exactly where he needed to be to counter ganks quite often and to secure objectives such as the Drake, and then just the whole team able to pressure and win their lanes and just snowball that. Great rotations coming out of the mid laner, Dragon Ship, and just so much damage. Just really impressed by his performance.
Yeah.
His target, he knew he had to just shut down Ted Blonde and was always in a position that Ted Blonde could never get away from him. Some great flanks coming from him.
Yeah.
Kexius said he would show up, and he definitely did, especially in that final match where he was absorbing so much damage and pressure from 5 people, basically. I mean, it was a 3v5 in the end there, and Sligo won it. So really great performance from Sligo, and they definitely, I mean, other teams must be looking at this, and it's concerning.
This is a team who has really picked it up the last few weeks, and given the comp they drafted there, we talked about the risky early game, but when it came to those latter stages, they were executing perfectly. Like you said, every member of that team was really fulfilling their role fantastically, and Bohemians with no real way to respond.
Yeah, so Bohemians get a loss, but Sligo get another win on the board and are now sitting at 5-2, I believe. So it'll be interesting to see how everything else kind of matches up. But like we said, Shamrock's in first place, but 1 win behind them, we have a 5-way tie for second place, and with this win from Sligo, it kind of puts them that much closer to first place and securing that playoff spot. But that's it for us for now until the next match, but we're going to throw it over to Connor and Holly, who are on stage.
Thanks for that, Nikita. Oh my goodness, this is getting exciting, isn't it? What a first game to kick off week 7. Incredible stuff.
Well, look, let's have a quick look here. This is the downtrodden Bohemian side. Look at them. Look at them. I suppose that is
broken men.
No matter how many miracles we get, that will mean you probably won't be making the playoffs. We're going to be chatting with the captain in a couple of minutes as well. But look, as the lads and David said a couple of minutes ago, 4 wins on the bounce.
Celebrations
Look
from
at this.
these guys.
Look at this.
Look, the hands rubbing together from Captain Kevin there. Come on, guys, you're a bit more excited than that, you know. Yeah, that's it.
This is what Sligo are all about now, right? So we're going to step back. We're going to talk to Emmett and indeed
Kevin and Kieran in just a moment. I mean, they've had such a long day, haven't they? It's been intense. It's been incredible. Come on in, guys. Come on in.
It's been a long spin.
Forward.
Listen, we'll
Kevin,
chat to the lads at length in a second. Make sure you leave your comments. Send them in tweets.
Questions.
Send them on the Twitch stream as well. Also, EStars.pro, and we'll be back in a couple of seconds where we will check in with the victorious and...
Sorry, Kieran.
Come on. Yeah, the not so victorious.
We'll hear what they have to say.
This is the biggest challenge of their lives. This is the fastest growing spectator sport in the world.
They seriously don't understand how good I am at this game, and we are going to win this.
Hi, I'm Liam from 3 Ireland's EStars.
Hi, I'm Tim from Peak.
And we're here to launch 3 Ireland's EStars merchandise.
Designed by Peak.
Cut.
Hey, you're allowed to come off now, mate. Okay. There you go.
Three Ireland's EStars is an amateur gaming competition in which we will give the opportunity to an amateur gamer to become Ireland's next EStar. We've partnered with the clubs across the League of Ireland, so there already is a rivalry there on a competition. We're dipping into that rivalry and we're taking it to the gaming scene. Peak is a very similar brand to ourselves, what Tim Crew's trying to do and break into the markets, and similar to us, we're looking to break into a new market as well. I think there's a great synergy there between ourselves and Peak.
It's a really exciting partnership. It's such a new business. I think it's amazing to give anybody an opportunity to be able to go on a big stage in front of thousands and thousands of people, and the final is going to be immense.
And welcome back. We are at the University of Limerick here. We are we're cold, we're a little bit wet, but the two lads who are with us at the moment are, well, I suppose, warm and not so warm. It'll all make sense in a couple of seconds. First of all, let me talk to Sligo. 4 wins on the bounce. Tell me, how does that feel?
Feels great, and I mean, it's literally what we planned from the start. We had a little rocky patch. It's to be expected.
Hold on. Rocky patch from a league perspective, or rocky patch at the start of that match? Because Bows took a nice early lead, they clipped at their heels for a while and looked a wee bit scary for you.
That is true. We did go into a game. We went into the game with a slight bit of underestimating. And that kind of bit us a little bit, but once we came back into the game, it was fine. We cleared our heads in the pause, and we were just ready to go back out and win.
Where was the game won and lost? Right, there was obviously probably with about 5 minutes to go, it was neck and neck. Then bang, boom. It kind of, I was going to say it all fell apart for them, but credit where credit's due. But was there a specific strategy?
I think the game kind of came down to macro. I mean, we were just building up a slow goal lead towards the latter end of the game. There was a few mistakes from them which we just punished, and that was that. You know, I think they did play well in the early game, but when you're getting to this stage of the competition and you're making small mistakes, it's just easy to capitalize on, and when you capitalize on mistakes, then you just win the game.
Right, well, we'll come back to you in a second, and we'll find out exactly how you feel about the next couple of weeks. It's going to get very tight up there. Holly, when it was done, it was done.
When it was done. That's the tale of the tape. Barnesy, I mean, where did it all go wrong? Kevin said they did underestimate you to begin with, but for you, what was breaking point?
So, yeah, early game, like, I was just taking it easy, you know, landing some hooks, getting in their head, shouting stuff, as I do.
I heard you.
And then...
Properly shouting stuff.
Yeah,
Right across in the production
yeah.
booth.
Well, the shouting stopped when we started to lose. But basically, they just strangled us out on the map. They had way better vision control and map rotations, and that's not something I can teach to teammates. And even though I said it repeatedly in the game, there's not much I can do. Like, they just strangle out our vision. We have less information to operate on, and then they just pick us off and slowly, gradually get a lead. That's a clean game by them, even if they don't want to admit it.
It was a good game to watch as well, but look, I mean, one of the things I love about Bows, it's something you've done throughout the weeks, is the fact you rotate the captain as well. You know, you're such a strong team together, you work well together. What's going to be your message as official captain and as captain this week?
Well, my official captain message, I'd say, is even though I flame the team half the time, I still love every one of them. Like, I can't imagine the team without Ted Blonde and Beely Ray Dyrus and Limitless, who couldn't be here this week. And who am I forgetting? Red Panda, Shane in the top. How could I forget him?
How can't you?
So basically, just fair play, lads. We'll show up. We'll put on a show. But yeah, as of this point, we can't make playoffs. It's unfortunate, but it's okay.
I think that is the where we're getting so far into the competition. Week 7 now, we are kind of getting the top of the table. Like you guys, we mentioned it earlier on, you don't have a chance at the playoffs now. But it's all about pride still, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, do you recognise how much impact you could still have on the big teams at the top over the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, like that's the thing. Bows play Sligo Rovers this week, which we lost. But we've also played Shamrock Rovers in the very last week, who is the number 1 team right now. All I'm saying is there might be some cheese going on there. Like it could be on the table. Like anything we can do to just shake up the table, we'll still try it. Like there's no point not to. We're here, we might as well play and do our best.
Because that is one of the things about Bows, isn't it? They have been consistent throughout the weeks. The cheese, camaraderie, and they are perfectly capable of shaking up that table. You are definitely one to watch anyway.
Look, this kind of, you're putting the cat among the pigeons here. As it stands, you're the number 1 ranked team at the moment, right? Extra game played, obviously. Lots could happen the next couple of hours. What keeps you there? What will keep you at the top?
I feel like consistency at this stage. It's something that we lacked at the start of the tournament, and that's why we dropped a game against Rovers. That's why we dropped a game against 3. But scrims have been going extremely well for us. We're being consistent, excluding the early game from this game, of course. So we might not show it right now, but I can see us just clean sailing towards the finals and taking that prize home, hopefully.
Well, it's not as simple as that, as we know, because a lot of games are going to be played over the next couple of hours are going to be pivotal to this competition. But what do you do differently? You know, you were talking about the bit of camaraderie you have. You don't necessarily have the cheese that Bows have, but how do you knit it all together as captain?
It's about just keeping the mentality straight, you know. One of the things that I feel like affected us today is, even you said it yourself, Connor, we came in off back-to-back wins, and that's a huge morale boost. But
back-to-back wins.
Exactly. And, I mean, that kind of went to our head, obviously, in the early game, and we underestimated Bows, and we got hit for that. But I think as long as our mentals are clean, they're focused on the prize and just the prize, then we should be okay.
Holly, I suppose you can ask Bows, who do they think is going to win it now? Because they've come up against
this is
pretty
the
much
thing. I
all
mean,
the big
you've
guns.
played everybody now. You've all watched each other's strategy. You understand tactics and what they're going to do. Looking forward, who have you played that you think they've got this?
It's actually really hard to tell because they're all best of ones. I mean, like, there's a clear top 4 in my head, which is Sligo Rovers, Shamrock, Dundalk, and then either Pats. Nah, it has to be Pats. Yeah, those 4. Out of those 4, I'd probably give it to Shamrock Rovers, honestly.
Shamrock
Tournament, yeah.
Ooh, what do you say to that now,
What do you
Kevin?
reckon? Outside of yourselves, of course, right? Obviously, you're going to talk yourself up, right? We've been surprised to hear you put Dundalk in there. Glad you did, because I think they've shown in the last couple of weeks they could really be big in this. Apart from yourselves, who else? And I know it's best of ones, but apart from yourselves, who are you looking at?
Again, it's very hard to tell, you know, and that's what's so great about the league, is that it is so open. But my top 4 would be ourselves, Bray, I think Shamrock Rovers, and probably Bray or 3, depending on form. I would be leaning to more, not Bray, Pats or Dundalk. Be leaning more towards Pats than Dundalk. But that's literally, it depends on form, and this is where, as I said, consistency comes into account majorly. You know, into the last few weeks, it's about just keeping the mentals clean and just finishing out those last few games. Like our last few games, they should be pretty straightforward wins for us, but it's about just executing those wins and making sure that we take home the second seed, hopefully, or first seed, depending on the upsets that Burnsy may cause.
Well, look, who
No
knows?
doubt about
Burnsy
that.
will get the opportunity to make so many upsets. If you want to come and watch the grand final, it's going to be epic. It's going to be on the 13th of May. It is in the 3 Arena in Dublin. Ticketmaster.ie. Go on there, have a look for 3 Ireland EStars. If you have any problems, you can always see it in our tops right throughout this evening if you're watching home on Twitch. Come and join us. There's going to be so much happening there. We have with some of the best freestylers in the world are going to be there as well. Look, get
It's
yourself
going to be
online.
incredible. Basically, we've got some of the country's top gamers. You want to see them in action. You've been watching on Twitch. You've been seeing it online. You want to see these guys for yourself. And they're good crack.
Yeah, and they're a bit of a laugh.
Anything
So
else.
we'll find out exactly what way it's going to develop over the next couple of hours. Stay with us here on Twitch. We look forward to having your company. We want tweets. We want messages on the Twitch stream as well. If you're on Facebook, eStars.pro as well.
And also, we've got to get these guys off. You know, you've been dropping names down here and saying who they think's going to win, and everyone in the room was just turning around.
How will we look around? How will we look
Everyone
around?
turning around, going,
This is
"They
what's
better set
happening."
us, better set our name." Setting up for the next game.
So it is on. It is proper on. Right. So who could be up there with officially the top team in 3 Ireland's EStars?
Fighting for the top spot now.
With one extra game played will be Sligo Rovers.
With one extra game.
One extra game played.
It's hard to believe that just next week we've just got 2 more fixtures, Derry and Dublin, and by then we will know who will be in the playoffs. Keep watching. Stay with us.
Yeah, give us your views as well. Back after this.
This is the biggest challenge of their lives. This is the fastest growing spectator sport in the world.
They seriously don't understand how good I am at this game, and we are going to win this.
Hi, I'm Liam from 3 Ireland's EStars,
Hi, I'm Tim from Peak,
and we're here to launch 3 Ireland's EStars merchandise.
designed by Peak.
Cut.
Hey, you're allowed to come off now, mate. Okay. There you go.
Three Ireland's EStars is an amateur gaming competition in which we will give the opportunity to an amateur gamer to become Ireland's next EStar. We've partnered with the clubs across the League of Ireland, so there already is a rivalry there on a competition. We're dipping into that rivalry and we're taking it to the gaming scene. Peak is a very similar brand to ourselves, what Tim Crew's trying to do and break into the markets, and similar to us, we're looking to break into a new market as well. I think there's a great synergy there between ourselves and Peak.
It's a really exciting partnership. It's such a new business. I think it's amazing to give anybody an opportunity to be able to go on a big stage in front of thousands and thousands of people, and the final is going to be immense.
This is the biggest challenge of their lives. This is the fastest growing spectator sport in the world.
They seriously don't understand how good I am at this game, and we are going to win this.
Let's see the big arena area, see what that looks like.
Sounds good.
What?
Wait. Oh my goodness. Dude, this looks so sick.
It's amazing.
It's really nice.
Wow. You gonna walk on the stage?
Yeah. What is that, a turntable? No, I'm not gonna touch it. I'm not gonna touch it.
This is so sick.
Can't get anything at the bar.
Hello there, buddy.
Oh, shut up, bro.
Welcome back, guys. Really fun interviews coming out. It's happy to see that Bose are still having fun with it and enjoying the experience. And, Sligo have 4 wins in a row now.
Yeah.
Really good team, very focused. Like they said, their 2 losses were to Team 3 and Shamrocks, who are Shamrock number 1, Team 3 held on to number 1 until, unfortunately, 2 weeks of losses back to back. So, really, it's not like Sligo's lost to any of the weaker teams, and they've pretty much cemented themselves, I would say, as probably 3rd in the tournament.
Yeah.
But then, but we do have the other teams, Bray, who are looking very strong themselves, St. Pat's, as both teams mentioned, Dundalk themselves, who are coming back. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do, but it was definitely a good performance from them, and they should be feeling good.
Yeah, one of the most informed teams, I think, right now, especially around that playoff area. It's a team that could certainly see themselves not only with the spot, but also really highly seeded as well coming into the playoffs. Sligo Rovers riding quite a big wave of momentum right now. But looking at another team that is on a massive surge is Shamrock Rovers. We can see them there as they get ready for their fixture today against Bray Wanderers. Right now, 5-1. Leading the league coming into this week.
Yep.
Another win here would keep themselves in sole possession of top spot. And over the last while, they have shown to be not only a team that can work together, but also just a very diverse team. Probably the most diverse team in the league when it comes to executing different styles and executing them well.
And who is carrying, because the whole team has stepped up, and that's what matters at the end of the day. It's not, if you just have one carry, it's very easy to shut them down or dismantle it through picks and bans or focusing in the team play. But Shamrocks have really just been a very good team all around. Slight upset in the first week, but after that they focused and have been doing really, really well. But Bray, on the other side, are a really good team, so they absolutely can match up. But we'll have to wait and see if they're actually able to.
Bray with pretty good start to the competition, but since then have taken a few losses that have moved them down the table a little bit. and now come up against the number 1 team in the league. They actually have Team 3 as well next week, so it's a pretty rocky road here for Bray Wanderers when it comes to closing out this group stage, and that has to be a worry, considering all of the competition for these playoff positions. You can ill afford losses at this stage, but Bray Wanderers have quite strong opponents to have to get through come to the end of the group stage.
Yeah, but if you want to win it, you got to be ready to beat everyone. So does it really matter who you're playing?
No.
Because at the end of the day, even let's say if you're playing 3 or Shamrock or whoever, if they're that good, that's who you'll probably meet in the finals or semi-finals, depending on how seeding sorts itself out. And in that situation, it's definitely going to be. It's just something you're going to have to match up against, and you're going to just have to deal with that. So in my mind, it's you've got to come in confident, you've got to come in strong, because if you think you can win it, you need to be prepared to match up against anyone.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what happens. A little bit of a photo shoot or something going on. I don't know what Adam's doing over there.
They're just getting some nice pictures with Dano at the PC. I believe I saw him and Rengus with the
Zoinkas,
doing a bit of a photo shoot for the thing earlier on in the day. These guys, and
there's it's quite an exciting piece coming out. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to actually announce where it is. I was interviewed for it as well. Zoinkas and formerly known as Dano and Rengus have also been interviewed, so it should be good fun. Definitely. But Bray looking high spirits. I mean, one of the things that I found is like, for me actually, I've enjoyed getting to know the players so much.
Yeah.
I think the Irish scene is actually one of the nicest I've probably seen in Europe. It's at a really nice size. Everyone kind of knows each other. Competitive enough that they want to win, but not unpleasant about it. And it kind of sucks. I know it's a cliche. It's like, oh, it sucks only one person can win. But it's like, I kind of want everyone to be able to come away with it happy. But I think it's not about the money. It's about that first place and that pride and that glory.
Yeah, certainly, especially when it comes to the latter stages of the competition, the teams will be pulling no punches. But like you said, everybody knows each other, gets along pretty well here. 2 teams, I think, that will be pretty familiar with each other as well in this game, which kind of adds a little extra bit of excitement to it, I think, especially the Bray Wanderers players who will be looking for the upset, I think, coming into this one. And obviously, a team that has struggled, I think, a little bit, have shown to be very reliant on the latter stages of the game. Bray, certainly a late game team. We thought that of Shamrock Rovers as well, but they have displayed that they can play more towards the early game if needs be, that they can go aggressive in the first 10-15 minutes and use those kinds of leads to turn that into a win, as opposed to just being dependent on getting to that late game and then taking it from there.
Yeah, and I think the thing is now that they are so ahead, at the end of the day, the most important thing is making playoffs. The danger is everything is so close, because even we're talking about Bray, about how they're a little bit low on the leaderboards. They're only 2 wins behind Shamrock Rovers. So it's not like they're in a position where they're so far behind they can't make it back up, and that's just how close the whole tournament is. I mean, you have, just for those who didn't see it, and I'm sure we'll bring it up scoreboard shortly, but you had Shamrock in first place, then we had a 5-way tie for second place, and then we had Bray and Cork tied.
It was Dundalk and Cork tied.
Dundalk and Cork tied afterwards. Oh wait, so is Bray after Dundalk?
Bray are above. They are
part of the 5-way tie. So I've swapped them with Dundalk, but it just shows how close everything is, and it just 1 win and 1 loss. So even though I expect Shamrocks to be in the playoffs, there is a chance that if they lose 1 or 2 games, suddenly they could actually drop out. Here we go. We see it
exactly. If Bray managed to take a victory in this game, not only do they put themselves in that fantastic position for playoffs, they actually tie with Shamrock Rovers at the top of the table.
With Sligo Rovers.
With Sligo as well, and potentially...
So Sligo have played a match, just so people know. They have a match above more, but that's it. It's suddenly we have a 3-way tie.
Which could potentially becomes a 5-way tie if Team 3 and St. Pat's win. We could be, with 7 weeks of the competition, we could have 5 teams tied for first place.
Yeah. And then that's without even considering Dundalk and Cork suddenly winning their matches, which would put a loss down there. So we could have the teams that have dominated throughout the whole tournament, Shamrock and Team 3, not even making it to playoffs. So in my mind, they're kind of like, obviously the main goal is to win the whole tournament, but making playoffs is what's really important. But now, as we're getting to that stage, it's like, on the one hand, if you've secured that playoffs, you want to be able to test different strategies, maybe practice your early game and so on. But since it's so close, they just don't have that luxury.
Yes, certainly. These teams need to really keep the pressure up, especially when it comes to this matchup. The other game we actually have on right now is Derry City against St. Pat's. Derry City, who have been struggling, I think, throughout the competition here. And
that's a polite way of putting it.
Yeah, they've been finding it tough. St. Pat's, on the other hand, 4-2, had a pretty good start, but it still have quite a few tough fixtures. They actually, I believe they're quite similar to Bray in that regard. They still have to get through Shamrock and Team 3. So
but again, they're tied for second at the moment, so it's like as close as it. But yeah, they are. St. Pat's again, I think they're one of the teams, when I think of them, it's consistency issues, and they have had a easier early start of the tournament, as opposed to Sligo, who had a very tough first 4 weeks. So it'll be interesting to see what they do, kind of matching up. Like you said, they're playing they're playing Derry this week, so Derry have not been able to secure a win. But if St. Pat's do lose to them, that's going to definitely maybe affect their mentality going into tough matchups next week.
Certainly, that would, I think, actually just unseat them in a really difficult fashion to bounce back from. They have two very strong opponents in the future, so not taking away a win here would do real damage actually to their playoff chances. Despite only being one game behind, they would be in a really tricky spot, I think, from that point. So they will have to certainly be watching out for Derry here. You can't afford any mistakes. But I think back to the marquee matchup here, I think we had this as matchup of the week, Bray against Shamrock. I'm super excited for this one. Generally excited when Shamrock Rovers do come against these top teams, because especially given the state of the league, there's so many diverse strategies coming out when people come up against Shamrock Rovers, but at this point they seem to always just find the right answer to it. And
Connor
their
doing?
drafts have been...
Connor has just got all the attention of all three girls there, doing some sort of posing or something, and I'm really curious. I know we're focused on the game now. He's getting all sheepish, hiding off camera there, but very curious. What was he doing?
Probably calling in for some Lucas.
I'm sure he'll tell us later. Look at him.
No,
can't help it. But I agree with you. Sorry, getting back to the focus, back to the game. He absolutely, there we go. Secret
Zooming
whisperings that they're planning something. That's what they're doing. They're planning. We're not looking at you guys play. Stop waving. You're not the reason we're doing it. Yeah, what are you guys doing? Suspicious. So the two ladies on the right are part of the amazing team that has been organizing and managing the players and everything. Unsung heroes behind the whole tournament. And there are many others as well. And I'm sure in the finals we should get them on stage and say thank you. But they've done a great job. But getting back to the game, Shamrock, great team. Bray, shown moments.
Yeah.
There's potential. So do you think odds... Do you think Shamrock are more likely to go undefeated until the end of the tournament or lose a match?
I think their schedule is actually pretty alright. I think this is probably the toughest match they actually have left, given who they're up against. So I think Shamrock Rovers are in a really good spot if they can get through this. It will be exciting to see anyway. We're actually just going to jump straight into the picks and bans here between these two teams. Shamrock Rovers, I think it's important to point out that their drafts over the last couple of weeks have been probably the best in the entire league, just in terms of managing to get themselves comps that work well against the enemy team. We do see they're going to start off with Camille and Caitlin Ban against Bray. Camille Ban, I think, is one that is especially important here, given that Bray's top laner, arguably their star player, you won't want him having too much of an impact over the map.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with you. And I think something to highlight about Shamrocks has been just one, their versatility, but also what I really liked, and when I saw them play against Team 3, was that they just their picks and ban were just very straightforward. They did pick a comp that was just strong, solid all around, and easy to execute, and they're not going for things that are unnecessarily difficult to execute, and I think that's worked out well for them. Caitlyn being banned makes sense, very strong champion. Bray banning out Evelyn and Galio, not so sure about the Evelyn ban, but the Galio pick I definitely understand. Strong champ that can influence a lot of the map.
We're seeing a good bit of focus here on that mid lane by the looks of things from Bray. Galio and Talia, two champions that are fantastic for impacting side lanes here. There's a few picks that Bray are normally don't get to see, things like the Sejuani and the Azir both being left up. Maybe Shamrock are looking for the Azir first pick to deny that, because that is one especially that Bray have being able to just do so much in terms of team fighting when they get that pick.
Yeah, so Shamrock, when you think about Zoinkers, I mean, in the first couple of weeks, I think he got his Azir and it's been perma-banned from him. Okay, so I've just been updated that the ban that we don't see is Azaya, so targeting bot lane. But yeah, so I was going to say his Azir was great, but he actually got the MVP of the week for his Swain performance, and we see them first picking that. Definitely makes sense. Kai'Sa, though, coming out on the side of Bray for the ADC, and Sejuani, very strong pick coming in jungle, and Shamrocks are replying with a Trundle.
Trundle, I think, works very nicely into Sejuani. There is that interaction where if you time the ultimate correctly, you actually give Sejuani negative armor, and it's when you use it on the passive, and then the passive wears off, and the Sejuani is suddenly goes from very tanky to very, very squishy. They're also going to go with the Tristana into the Kai'Sa here. Bray have the opportunity to still pick up that Azir. They've gotten 2 really crucial picks, as well as a very strong AD carry in that Kai'Sa. So if I was Bray, I would be pretty happy with how the start of this draft has developed. However, instead looking for the Braum, it's a strong bot lane combo, and they're opting into that, maybe looking for something different in the mid lane.
Well, what you were saying actually made me think that like they really need to prioritize either the mid lane but the bot lane seems to be where their focus is. Kai'Sa is a very strong pick. Tristana is lower down in the tier list, so securing the Braum means that they are in a great position coming into that, and they're able to focus that bot lane. It gives them a strong advantage, and maybe they're not feeling as confident about their mid laner matching up against Dana or Zoinkers as he is now known. So he's definitely been, I mean, got the MVP for his Swain before. He's been playing incredibly well. Do you want to put your mid laner up against that? But interesting, Cassiopeia and then a Rise ban. So do they think the Swain is going to the top lane?
Shamrock have played that Swain in the top lane before, so it's a champion that they can flex. Bray may be trying to force them to put it in that mid lane role, so you're imagining that they have some sort of answer to it. Shamrock Rovers' 2 bans are Kled and Sion, so they are limiting Moo's champion pool in that top lane. But the Malphite is going to be the response here. That one is potentially blind. I think Swain can always go pretty nicely into Malphite here. So it's actually an interesting adaptation from Bray. Either they go with the thinned out mid lane champion pool and put that Swain top side for a good matchup, or they put the Swain in the mid lane and find something else to play in that top lane for full auto tank.
I mean, it's interesting because I just straight away thought of the Swain in the mid lane. I didn't consider it in the top lane. So either Bray have some information we're not aware of, or they potentially haven't done their research.
Yeah.
I mean, Full Auto has played Swain in the top lane, but
he's also played a bit of the Malphite, which maybe Bray were looking for the denial pick. In any case, they're going to put the Cho'Gath there in that top lane and keep the Swain in the middle. Interesting to see how that works out for Shamrock Rovers. But Bray now with the counter pick in the mid lane. Azir's still available, but we'll see if that's what Bray want. I'm surprised that the champion has actually gotten through so far against Bray, who have had so much success with it.
I know, and yep, we see it being last picked right there. So, I mean, Azir in the right hands can completely take over, but as we saw, unfortunately, with Fate last game, he just wasn't able to get started enough to be able to get to that position, and we'll have to see what Bray is able to do with the Azir and their team comp. I'm definitely preferring Shamrock's picks and bans, and it's mainly because of that Swain in the mid lane with the Cho'Gath, and then Swain in a position where he's able to be that off-tank, off-damage dealer, and he can be so annoying, and we saw Zoinkers do that in a number of matches where he was just engaging, being that front line, and the other team wasn't able to kill him, and then he would just clean up and get double kill, and he became such a force the other team had no answer for. I think it's incredibly dangerous to give him that champion.
Yeah, I think certainly for both of these teams in terms of the draft, they would have gotten a lot of the picks that they wanted. Like you said, that Swain in the mid lane for Shamrock Rovers. I think they have a pretty nice bot lane for what they want to do as well. But on the other side, I think that Bray have a lot more of their power picks than they usually get. Things like the Sejuani, the Azir that they see taken away from them. Also, nabbing the Kai'Sa in the bottom lane is a pretty nice one as well. So I doubt they're going to be too annoyed with that one here. And I think after seeing that draft, I would give Bray more of a chance in this game than I might have before that. Because if it does get to those later stages, when it comes to the team fights, the part of the game that Bray excel in, they stand a really good chance, I think.
But for me, it comes down to actually the early laning phase. In that, Bray need to be very careful not to fall too far behind.
Yeah.
Because if Malphite falls too far behind, then he'll die. We'll dive in and he'll die. If Azir isn't able to farm up and get to the item breaks, he's not going to be able to do the damage. And so a lot of it comes down to, are they able to get to that late game where they do excel, and are they able to execute their team comp? But if they do, yeah, you're right, I think. And Malphite, who is tanky, he's such a great engage. They have Kai'Sa, who's such a long-range damage dealer. You have Azir, who's so potent. It's like there's a lot. It also depends on how they build the Kai'Sa, obviously, but it could be very interesting to see what happens.
Certainly, I think the one matchup we want to keep an eye on for this game is that mid lane.
Yeah.
Zoinker's former MVP, one of the best players in the tournament, I think, so far from that mid lane, especially over the last few weeks, has been a massive presence for Shamrock Rovers here. Back on the Swain, certainly a champion he can take over the lane with, and as a very lane dominant player, that is important for his team. But up against Hawkins on the Azir, his best champion, player that isn't the best in the lane, and I imagine that Zoinkers will be looking to take advantage of that. But if he gets through safely enough, then the Azir becomes a real threat.
And he has, when he was allowed to get the Azir, he was so dominant on it. So it'll be really exciting to see what ends up happening. But we have the Shamrock Rovers lineup. So in the top lane, we have full auto tank. In the jungle, Razor. Mid lane, Dano. ADC, Adzi. And support, Dr. Yeti. Dano in game, so long as he hasn't changed it again, is now Zoinkers. Just so people know. And on the other side, as it pops up,
there we go.
The Bray Wanderers. And in the top lane, we have Moo, who has had some of the best trash talk in the tournament, but hasn't always been able to back it up. In the jungle, Aero. In mid lane, Hawkins. ADC, Keverman. And support, Munch Stealer. Keverman getting the first pentakill of the whole tournament.
It's certainly
a little fun fact.
Keverman, another player who managed to take away an MVP in previous weeks. Maybe looking for a peak performance. Hasn't found as much success since then here, but on the Kai'Sa, I picked that. I think he, as well as a bunch of other AD carries, have been trying to pick up since her release and since she's come in. Obviously received a couple of hits on the most recent patch, but it's certainly
buffed and then nerfed.
Yeah, nerfed on I think the latest one. After the buffs made her very strong. So
they're very generous.
Yeah, but certainly Keverman looking to have a big performance, feeling that the champion is still in a pretty good position and hoping to...
Whoa.
Oh, wow. All right, well...
We'll have to probably
oh, geez.
swap off camera, but we'll see what happens now.
All right, let's...
on stream,
there we go.
Showing it off, feeling good.
He's close
there we
now.
go,
We're
getting
fine.
excited.
We're fine. He just needs the...
Wrong way.
Connor helping him out. Coming in with the shades. Just
feeling good, doing good, ready to win. And that's what we want to see. Unfortunately, Bray, like, we've seen glimpses, as we said, Hawkins stepping up, Keverman getting MVP, but they haven't been... They're actually, they are the poster child for inconsistency.
Yeah.
1 week coming in super coordinated, super strong, and then the next week, I don't even know what happened. And I actually remember them losing 1 week, and the whole team came out, and and they didn't even know. They were like, just completely fell apart. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there.
Certainly, a win here would do wonders for their confidence, I think. And maybe that is the secret ingredient after a couple of rough performances, like you said, not being able to deliver on that consistent basis. Maybe it's a case of just not having the confidence in yourselves to deliver consistently, like we're seeing Sligo Rovers do now, like we've seen Shamrock Rovers do over the past few weeks. But if they can get a big win like this under their belt, then potentially that is the key to getting back and just being able to perform more on a better level week in, week out. And we'll see. I think the draft that they got is very good, and potentially there's a chance for them to actually do it here.
And we see the players sitting there, ready to win. That's right. A very serious face. Ooh. Something coming out. But I agree. And I think that mental aspect is really huge. It's something I really enjoy kind of looking at the players. Like, do they defeat themselves? Do they tilt? How do they deal with losses? How do they deal with wins? Because sometimes when you're at the top of the leaderboards, you can get arrogant and start to lose games because you're just not preparing correctly. It's also sometimes harder to be at the top of the leaderboards because you're beating everyone, and it's harder to be innovative, and it's easier to copy, and other teams can just look at you and just replicate what you're doing and learn. So it will be very interesting to see what happens there. But I think it's been great to see Sligo, for example, lose to two teams in some actually arguably some of the closest matches. I think it was week 3. Were they against Team 3?
Week 3 they were against Team 3.
And it was such a close match, and they barely lost it. But it's great to see them able to set that aside, look back on it, study it, learn what they did wrong, and then take it forward. And we'll have to see what happens. Interestingly, so this is a completely different topic, but it's interesting always for me to see how the teams choose to sit in what order. Because some default to the lineup, which is mid and mid, jungle, top. Others sometimes swap it around.
I mean, most of the time, it's actually Team 3, I think, who are the biggest proponents of not sitting in order. They have Rengus in the middle, and then the team spread out a little bit from there. We actually see Shamrock Rovers today sitting in a little bit of a different formation. They've got Dano on the end. They actually have Razor in the middle. So
now I wonder if that because Dano was doing a photo shoot and he had to be at the end, and the other team. But so when I used to play Halo, I was never pro, but I played against a couple of pros and I loved it. And when I watched the other teams, they used to swap around a lot, and it was because where you looked on your screen. And I used to shotcall for my friends in League of Legends, and I always liked being in the middle to be able to look at their screens when I was dead because I was bad. So I died a lot, and gave me an opportunity to be engaged and interested elsewhere.
As the best way to play the game, just make sure you spend as much time dead as possible, so then you can marshal
that's
the troops.
how I learned how to cast, because then I was able to study it and but we're going to jump to a quick ad before the match, and after that we'll be straight in.
This is the biggest challenge of their lives. This is the fastest growing spectator sport in the world.
They seriously don't understand how good I am at this game, and we are going to win this.
God, I couldn't even finish my story there.
We were getting the.
I was getting all excited.
Yeah, he was getting the tale of Nikita as the shoutcaster.
Yep.
Shoutcaster / shot caller.
Shot caller dying a lot. That's how I started studying the game, because I was dead so much I had to watch what my friends were doing and shouting at them, and that gave me the ability. And once I mastered shouting, I could then look at casting.
Yeah, you can't spell shoutcasting without shout, but we are on the Rift here for our second game of the day. Shamrock Rovers against Bray Wanderers. Two teams at the top of the table here, and Bray...
Was this coming a trap?
Yeah, potentially. They do have a flank if they want it, but they don't really have the members there. They've actually sent Razor up towards that top side, so he might be able to get the jump on the Raptors if he wants. In any case, should be in a good position to get vision, and does put a ward down in the jungle. He will actually be spotted on the way out, so Bray getting a nice bit of information in response here, and they do have that bottom side of the Shamrock Rovers jungle lit up, so they'll have enough information on where Razor's starting and what kind of moves to make in response to it.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens there. I mean, there's not really much you can do about that. The ward is there. It lets you know. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to get those chickens because they offer the most XP, so it's just... I don't think it will mess up the pathing too much.
Certainly, we'll see what both these teams. Both junglers starting on the top side of the map, so you imagine the bot lane focus may be pretty crucial coming out here. I think the bot lane is a lane that we have to focus on as well. Kevin Man, obviously a former MVP, him and Munchstealer have not been as overbearing in the past few weeks, I think, compared to their early performances in the competition. Meanwhile, Adzi and Dr. Yeti, I think, on the other hand, have actually been stepping it up very recently.
Yep.
A bot lane that were kind of berated a little bit, I think, for a few weaker performance than expected early in the competition, but the last couple of weeks they've had comps that they fit very nicely into and are actually managing to step up to their role in the team very, very well.
I mean, the match where Zoinka's Dano managed to get the MVP, Adzi was was a monster, really, and he was in so close in contention. He was putting so much damage. He was just destroying the other team, but I felt Zoinkers particularly enabled that because the other team just wasn't able to handle him or deal with him, and that enabled Adzi to do so well. But as you mentioned, that they're both doing very well. Janna in the bot lane, just a safe disengage champion, so be interesting to see how they do, especially in lane against the newer Kai'Sa and Braum.
Yep, certainly. We also had a brief look at the mid lane there. Zoinker's looking for the nice trade. That mid priority actually allowing Razor to get in the jungle over Relax Boy and try pressure him out on this Sejuani. Nice start for Razor here, could really hinder Bray's jungler and just keep the Sejuani out of the game for as long as possible here. And Razor, I think the player with more experience here, will be looking to take advantage of that. And another player for this team who has really stepped up in the last couple of weeks will be pretty important for him here. Hawkins and Zoinkers once again back at the trade, and Hawkins giving over a few minions here as Zoinkers looks to pressure him out of the lane.
Yeah, I mean, Zoinkers on Swain. Swain got a little bit of a nerf to his early game. I think it was up until level 3, so just kind of make him a little bit less dominant in those first few levels. And Hawkins is doing fine, about 10 CS behind, but I think the wave is crashing into him now, so I might be able to match that up.
There's a lot of pressure here,
Actually,
and trying to constantly catch him out. Zoinker is actually spending a lot of mana here to put this Azir in a tricky position. Hawkins being forced to play so far back here. Zoinker's a lane dominant player, and the first 5 minutes of the game dominating that lane.
Yeah, absolutely. We can see him doing that and forcing the Azir back, but he can't back off because it's too big a wave that's about to crash into his tower. So I wonder if Razor is going to look to run into that mid lane now that he's just gone back to purchase his first item.
Once again, this is just constantly taking this poke.
Hawkins is actually like really weak. This is like with the right combo.
Yep.
He's in
I think
death range.
One Never Move landed, and he's in a lot of trouble here. In the top lane trade though, Moo in response really putting the pressure down on this Cho'Gath. I believe he actually went Grasp of the Undying, which is different to the Arcane Comet we see sometimes on this Malphite. Will allow him to develop into more of a tank as well, and when it comes to these melee trades, it'll sustain him up nicely. Move the alternate trade path, actually looking pretty nice, but Dr. Yeti looking for the gank mid lane here. Hawkins has to try to find a way out, but the Ignite down on him, flashing with the heal, but I think he goes down anyway. It is actually first blood over to this Janna. Great roam from Dr. Yeti, and Zoinkers now has to try and make an escape. I'm not sure Relax Boy has the crowd control to punish this Swain, and Razor is there for the counter gank here. This Sejuani might actually be caught out. Relax Boy flashing over the wall to make his way away from that one. Moo is now the next target here and is knocked up by the Rupture. He has to make an escape as well. Blast Cone is available and he flashes to it, and Shamrock Rovers take out anyone in their path, get themselves a kill as well as a bunch of summoner spells used.
Yeah, really well played, and we saw Zoinkers flash the thumbs up, and he definitely deserves to. It's a great gank coming around. We saw Dr. Yeti rotate up top, and he was one of the players we highlighted as giving good performance, and it was him that actually pressured the mid lane. He secures first blood for his team with the Ignite, and they not only get the kill, but they also get 2 flashes out of the top laner and the jungler. So Shamrock sitting in a really nice position at the moment, and they have every advantage, and I wonder what Razor will be doing with that pressure that he now has against the mid laner, jungler and top laner of Bray. Will flashes for another 4 minutes.
Yeah, it'll be tough for Bray, I think, to keep themselves safe if Shamrock Rovers do look to get aggressive here, and with this Swain pick as well, they can certainly afford to make those kinds of moves. Early Catalyst picked up by Zoinkers, so sustain is not a problem at all, and he's keeping Hawkins pushed in. Mid priority, always handy to have, and Swain gets to that bottom lane, finds himself a nice Never Move, and he can turn that into kills so easily.
Yeah, we wanted to see Relax Boy kind of impact map, probably the bot lane, which was given priority by Bray, but he hasn't actually ganked anyone as of yet. So we'll have to see what he's able to do. But he is down a flash, so on the back foot. Shamrock Rovers saying 500 gold ahead. Not huge, but we're only 7.5 minutes in.
Yeah, certainly. We'll see what they can do with that. Small advantage in the bottom lane for Bray, and we saw them able to trade pretty nicely against that Shamrock Rovers duo. So the Kaiser Braum combination working it nicely enough for them. We also saw Mu doing well in the top lane, but jungle mid for Shamrock Rovers with a great start to this game and allowing a base for this team to build around. We kind of expected it from Zoinkers here, and he has delivered very well. We'll see what they can do with that pressure in terms of roams and objectives here. Once again, another trade coming out in this bottom lane, but Tristan and Janna, tough to really turn into kill pressure. We actually see a trade in the jungle as well here, and Hawkins might be caught out trying to make the escape and has a nice dash away using the Emperor's Divide as well to make sure that Zoinkers cannot catch up to him. But all the pressure is here for Shamrock Rovers here, forcing Relaxed Boy away from that blue buff.
Yeah, I mean, Hawkins just completely on the back foot, but we see more action.
Yeah, looking for the re-engage here, but Kevin Man still has to keep his distance away from the sway. No ultimate is available for Zoinkers, but even so, he has all the damage he needs, and they manage to delete Relaxed Boy. Second kill for Shamrock Rovers now. They take out the Sejuani, they can finally take away this buff, and Bray have no answer.
They absolutely don't, and we can see them that Zoinkers, once again, this is why he's so deadly on the Swain, is that he's just able to bully the other team, and they don't have an answer. How do they just get through the tankiness whilst being able to survive the damage? And Hawkins, unfortunately, forced to use his ultimate Emperor's Divide defensively, forced to get away, and if he's always going to be on the back foot, on his, arguably his best champ, things aren't looking great for Bray.
He is going to be waiting a while before he can really impact the game, especially with the way that this lane is developing. 2-0 now to Shamrock Rovers, and doing what they can to deny as many resources from Bray in this early game. Anzi looking for the aggressive play bottom lane because they have Razor there. The Monsoon will actually knock them back, but this Braum is still being focused on and locked in place by the pillar. Dr. Yeti says thank you very much. The Janna gets second kill of the game, and once again Shamrock Rovers just in complete control now.
Damage build Janna, I guess it is. But Janna really, Dr. Yeti playing really well, knowing the limits of his champion and allowing Razor to come in, put up a really nice pillar and take out Munchstealer, who is meant to be, you know, a tankier member of the side of Bray. But if he's going to be constantly picked off like this, then he's not going to be given the opportunity to scale up. He'll be a couple of levels behind, and then he'll always be just softer and not able to defend his ADC and mid laner, which is his job.
Things looking bad for Bray in the early game. A team that is notorious for struggling at this portion of the game, but might be getting out of hand here. 10 minutes in and they are already close to 1.5k gold down. Haven't given over anything in terms of major objectives yet, but given the pressure that Shamrock Rovers are beginning to develop in all areas of the map, all it takes is a few more of these picks and the towers become an option, at which point then the goal lead really begins to develop. But Hawk is looking for the play in the mid lane here. You do see the Demonic Ascension being used by Zoinkers as he tries to get away, but he is stunned up here, and the CC chain will be coming in. Razor though looking to peel for his mid laner, but I don't think it's enough. Hawkins gets the kill, and finally Bray are on the board, but the return kill comes in from Razor as the trundle damage is there. Despite the move made by Bray, it only ends up a 1-for-1.
I mean, when you have 3 people ganking the mid laner, you have to secure that kill, but they burnt so much and they stayed so long that Zoinkers was able to put enough damage. Razor comes in and kills Relaxed Boy at the end, making it a 1-for-1 trade.
Oh, Azzy actually jumping in the bottom lane, but they have Munchstealer as well, caught out in the bush. Did not expect Razor and Yeti to be there, and they take him out for the second time this game. Kevin Man though flashing forward, he wants to catch Adzi here. He does actually have the supercharge to try and get to him, and the last auto attack is enough for Kevin Man, but the pillar will mean that there is no escape. He gives up his life to get the kill. Razor on a killing spree, and Shamrock Rovers able to consistently grind out these kills.
I have to say, I really like that play out of Kevin Man. It could have I mean, I'm glad it worked out for him. It could have backfired massively, but he recognized that Razor was actually coming under the turret, and he was so weak that he would have died regardless, so he flashed forward aggressively to get that kill. But it was really on the limit, and had that he'd been a little bit further, or Tristana got in a rocket jump, she wouldn't have got away, and he would have wasted the flash. So kind of, I like the aggression, but I'm not necessarily sure. But Razor doing such a great job coming into the mid lane, getting that one kill against after Zoinkers was taken down by 3 people, then rotating straight into the jungle, able to pick up another one, and then force out Kevin Man, forcing the flash out and getting him as well. So really, Razor has doing has a huge impact and presence on this map so far.
Yes, certainly. Great start here from the Shamrock Rovers jungle, as we've come to expect from him over the last couple of weeks. Really taking advantage of the jungle matchup here to just keep the pressure on every lane for Bray. We do see actually Sejuani looking to make a move for the blue buff. I don't know how they spotted him out, but Moo and Full Auto Tank will find a trade in that topside jungle. Relax Boy is still on that buff, but the members of Shamrock Rovers are potentially looking to collapse on that topside. Razor is there as well, looking for the pillar to slow down the escape from the Moo. Has the Malphite ultimate if he does need to use that to close the gap as he makes his way away. Blue buff was actually stolen by Relax Boy in the end, and it's not like they lost the top laner for it, so that's a small positive there for Bray Wanderers.
It is. Curious play coming out of Relax Boy. Like, it worked out, but I'm not sure what information he had on the map to make him feel comfortable with doing that. Bit of a risky play, because if Swain or Trundle had decided not to focus on Moo and had just rotated down to their jungle, he would have been caught, and it would have been another kill going over to Shamrocks. But nonetheless, Blue going over to Relax Boy, denying it to Zoinkas in the mid lane, giving hopefully Hawkins a little bit of room to breathe. But we can see that Zoinkas is still bullying Hawkins down in the mid lane, and the top lane turret for Bray looks like it's about to go down. I mean, it's nearly a quarter health.
That banner of Command Rush by Full Auto Tank means that he is able to just pop that down on the cannon minion, and it will push so freely against this Malphite, who does not have the tools to take him down quickly unless he soaks up a lot of damage like he did there. And the Moo struggling to have an impact. We expected him to be the stronger top laner here, but Malphite versus Cho'Gath, he's just not able to really press his advantage here, and good adaptations as well from Full Auto Tank to make sure that not only is the Moo not able to really win that matchup outright, but also he's the one being pressured in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it just says something about Banner of Command, which is, I feel it's in such a great spot, and then you have a mind game kind of meta play with your opponents and the other team. It's like, do they take minion dematerializer? Where do you rush the Banner of Command? If you rush it very early on, we can see the pressure it's kind of creating in the top lane, and that turret is very close to going down. How does Bray react to that? If they do react to that, does that suddenly make it worth it? Because if they have to suddenly focus on the Banner of Command, that makes the item worthwhile, because it's still drawn pressure. So I really enjoy the item. I really enjoy seeing it. Does it go top laner, bottom support? I think it creates it's nice little mind games, and it puts teams, it separates the teams, those that know how to deal with that pressure and react, and those that only know how to play the game in one way and aren't as versatile.
We see back to this mid lane matchup. Zoinkers still well and truly on top. Over 25 CS lead in his favor. Seemingly always has that wave up towards Hawkins Tower here. And that means that whenever there's a fight almost breaking out in the side lane, whenever there's an opportunity for Shamrock Rovers to make a play or deny a play, he can just step out of that lane. And at the same time, they've also done a very good job of keeping a ward coverage around that mid lane, so he can play so aggressively here. And Shamrock Rovers, not only is their mid laner playing great himself, but also the team has a great setup around him that he can keep his dominance on this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is exactly why it's such a dangerous thing to give Zoinkas the Swain, because he's so good in lane, and then he's able to use that to get an advantage in lane through CSing. He's also gotten 2 assists and a kill, so he's gotten a nice gold advantage over his opponent, but over the opponents in the other lanes as well. So if he goes to any lane, it's very difficult for the other team to be able to deal with him, especially when he pops his ultimate and becomes so tanky.
Yes, certainly. We see both junglers know that the Rift Herald might have been started by Razor. He was in the area anyway. We actually do see he's done quite a bit of damage to it already, and it should be going down. Full Auto Tank as well, making sure that he can keep the Moo away. And it looks as if the objective will be secured there by Shamrock Rovers. Would be the fantastic opportunity for them to take down the first tower, considering all the damage they've done to towers in all 3 lanes.
Look at this. But bot lane turret's about to go down. I mean, right now, why don't they pop it in the mid lane? Hawkins has been forced to back. That would do a significant amount of damage to that turret, and they can rotate, which is exactly what they're doing, rotating and pressuring the bot tower, securing that. And Banner of Command is up for Full Auto Tank in the top lane turret, so they could take 3 turrets basically.
Yeah,
I think they actually did pop the no, they didn't.
Yeah, he still has it available here, but they have forced the duo lane of Bray away from that bottom lane tower, so they could use that and potentially push it in and try make a play for the tier 2. Holding on to it for now because that tower take was so easy for them. They can still use that in a lane, and it's looking like it might be a massive gold swing in the near future here for Shamrock Rovers.
I mean, they are nearly 4K up already. Like, a massive gold swing has already arrived with 17, 18 minutes into the game. 4K gold lead for Shamrock Rovers, which has just developed over, you know, a couple of kills, better CSing, and objective control. First turret gold, first blood going over to them, and that's definitely going to grow once Cho'Gath and Zoinkers secure their turrets in the mid and top lane, and we can see they're already looking to pressure that.
The Relaxed Boy trying to keep the attacking members of Shamrock Rovers at bay for as long as possible. If needs be, they can just pop down the Rift Herald and take that tower, but you imagine they'll see what their chances are with a siege setup for the moment. It might be tough for them. I don't think Tristana's range is really enough to execute that right now. She still needs a few more levels before they get to that point. Bray have a nice defense in that mid lane for the moment. However, they have sent Zoikers to that bottom side, so if he can get that wave to the tower, then there's a lot more for Bray to have to think about.
Yeah, but they're able to put 3 people, so we've got a 1-3-1 on the side of Shamrocks. Now, who is actually strong enough and safe enough to actually match up against Zoinkers and hold them off? And we see them rotating Keverman and Munch Stealer to the bot lane, but they have to be really careful. And yep, we can see them fighting up here.
We do see the engage coming in, looking to see if they can pick up this wave, but look at the damage coming out from Zoinkers onto Keverman to start this one off, and he still has the Demon Flare. He flashes forward and takes out the Kai'Sa. Zoinkers once again making the big plays on this Swain, and now with the push going down in the mid lane, Shamrock Rovers have all the pressure in the world.
I mean, great aggression from him, and once again we just see him dominating with this Swain, knowing exactly the limits of the champion, knowing when he can go aggressive, when he has to play a little bit defensive, uses the brush beautifully to just get out of Keverman's vision just for a second, to buy a little bit of time, and then flashing over Munch Stealer to pop the end of his ultimate and take out Keverman, and then forcing Munch Stealer to run away because he isn't strong enough, which gives Shamrocks the opportunity to not only secure the bot lane tier 2, grab the outer turret in the top lane as well as in the mid lane. So massive gold swing going over to Shamrock Rovers, and they are now, quick math, 7k ahead.
7,000 gold ahead indeed, almost 7,000. It's going up or down, I think, but even no matter what, it is a huge lead for this team, and 20 minutes on the clock. They've got Cho'Gath, they have Tristana, Trundle. They can get through this Baron so quickly, and there is no vision in the area for Bray Wanderers. They do not know this is going down unless they can kind of guess where the missing members are here. So you imagine this has to be just the Baron going over to Shamrock Rovers here. Relaxed Boy is now in the area if he wants to hop over the wall. They have wards in the pit, but I'm not sure they have enough information to make the play here, and the Sejuani going around the long way is not going to be able to get there. Will be finished off, and now maybe picking off a fight here. Zoinkers is caught out on the side, but we've seen what he's been able to do when that has been the situation before here. Not enough damage to finish off the kill with Sejuani on the top side, so all in all it is just the Baron, but Shamrock Rovers looking so good right now.
They're looking incredible, and something I want to point out that I don't know if it was caught by the viewers, but Dr. Yeti was obviously zoining Relaxed Boy out, but the second the Baron got down to his to low health, he used the Monsoon to just prevent Sejuani from being able to even attempt the Baron steal. So really nice play from him, nice use of his ultimate just to ensure that the Baron goes over to them, and now 5 members of Shamrock Rovers with an 8k gold lead have Baron, and they are just pushing down mid.
The first 20 minutes of this game have been squeaky clean from Shamrock Rovers, and they do not show any signs of letting up soon. Pushing down this mid lane, they have the cannon minion, empowered by the Baron buff, empowered by that banner of command. With the engage coming out from the move, looking to burst out Dr. Yeti, and they have him. Now they are focusing on this Cho'Gath, and Hawkins with the Stream of Shuffle will be able to push him back in. Not able to finish off the kill just yet, but Relaxed Boy flashing forward to try get him, and Hawkins does finish that one off in the end. It is 2 kills for Bray Wanderers, 2 very much needed kills.
Yeah, great reactions and great seizing of the opportunity by Bray. They saw their chance, they jumped in, managed to secure 2 kills. That's 2 key members that had the Baron buff remove them. But while all of that was happening, we saw Adzi in the top lane taking the tier 2, and Zoinker is now in the bot lane pressuring this, and now it's a 2v1, 3v1.
Looking to see if they can finish him off. Zoinkers does try to create a little bit of distance here, but he knows that he has this big play potential on the Swain. Meanwhile, they lose their tower in the mid lane as well. Zoinkers looking to finish off the kill onto Munchstealer. Moo trying to slow him down, but can only do a little bit of damage to this Swain, who can just pull him back in and sustain up. Zoinker's happy to just sit here and deal with everyone who comes his way. The rest of the team rotating mid and getting the tower, and suddenly Bray find themselves without any towers left outside their base.
I mean, it's a 1v3, and Zoinkers is not afraid of them because it's only the tanks. It's Munchie, Relax Boy, and Moo who are attacking him, so none of them have the damage to actually kill him, whereas he has the damage to kill them. So they have to kind of play very hesitantly, and that means that the rest of his team, he's drawing so much aggression that the rest of his team is just able to push in and secure the turrets. I gotta say, Zoink is making a very strong case for another MVP.
Potentially, he has been such a big player in this game, taking control in the lane and transferring that fantastically to other areas of the map. He goes to his side lane, he draws so much pressure and is almost impossible for the opponents to kill. They risk their lives just by trying to deal with this Swain.
And the 2 Cloud Drakes that they've secured, which we haven't really mentioned, but just suddenly give them that extra little bit of mobility that allows them to do these rotations so much clean and so much quicker than the other teams might expect it to be. And we've seen Adzi just, you know, performing really well in that recognizing.
Moo looking to see if he can get a pick onto Razor here, but there are members of Shamrock Rovers incoming, and the Trundle a difficult target to take out. Moo, the damage coming into him. Razor on a rampage, but the return kill comes in onto Adzi here. The Tristana just a little bit too far forward. Now the re-engage comes out. They've got a double kill for this Kaisa, looking for the triple onto the isolated tank, and Hawkins is the one who secures that one. Bray making the team fights happen. This is when this team is at their most dangerous, and they are using it to keep themselves in this game.
Yeah, they're definitely doing a really good job of seizing the opportunities that Shamrock is giving them. Zoinkers wasn't there, Razor was a little bit too far back, and the other team was just out of position, and Bray just jumps straight in and is able to get 3 kills for themselves. It's still about an 8k gold advantage for Shamrock, but that was about 10k just a second ago. So really good performance from Bray, and it shows that they're keeping their head in the game.
Just taking perfect advantage of the opportunity. We talked about how dangerous the Swain is, but they are finding times to make plays when the Swain is not there, turning it into quick kills. And there's no chance for Zoinker to join the fight. By the time he was getting there, he's already down 3 members. And as strong as he is, he can't 1v4 like that Kevin Man, though. A little bit too far forward, has to flash, but Adzi follows it. Goodbye, Kevin Man. And now Shamrock Rovers cleared members out of the mid lane looking to push.
Yeah, so I was about to say, the reason that Zoinkers earlier, as I mentioned, was able to 1v3 was because none of the damage dealers were there. If 3 of his team members go down and he's facing Hawkins and Kevin Man, he will die. Because Kevin Man is starting to hit some really nice, powerful item spikes, but then he gets caught out of position by Adzi, gets killed, and now Bray are actually in a bit of a dangerous spot. Kevin Man's not up for another 10 seconds. There's the opportunity for Shamrock to pressure in, but the waves aren't necessarily in the ideal position. We see them rotating down to the bot lane, though.
Shamrock Rovers looking to set up some sort of siege, maybe convert it into a pick if they can land a nice bit of CC, but in any case, chipping away at that bottom lane tower will do for now. Kevin Man is back on the field, so he can help them out when it comes to that wave clear, but Zoinkers still looking to move out of that lane, try to split the defenses of Bray Wanderers here, who cannot afford to be disconjointed here when it comes to the defense of their base. Shamrock Rovers knowing exactly how to apply all the pressure right now and really punishing Bray in their defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really nice 1-4 split. Zoinkers is just so strong at the moment on the Swain and threatening from the side to either flank or just pressure the mid and the bot lane towers. And Bray need to focus on one or the other. and it'll be interesting who is going to pull the trigger, who's going to jump on it, because we've seen Bray do so well at identifying someone over
the engage comes in, looking for Adzi. We'll see if the Tristana can get away. Nice Monsoon and the rocket jump means he can go back, and Zoinkers can now join the fight. Kevinman is already dead, and now this is perfect for Shamrock Rovers. They get to Munch Stealer as well, and the kills are just rolling in for Adzi. Double for him, looking to jump forward for the triple, and he gets it. Can he make it the quadra? Just needs to get to Hawkins. Will be slowed down by the Empire Vision, and the shutdown actually comes in. Shamrock Rovers find the ace. They only lose one, and with those minions in the base, they could end the game right now.
Dr. Yeti was so good, I have to say, like in that team fight, saving his AD carry, able to jump back, get the kill. Zoink is coming out of it with full health, able to kill Hawkins in the base.
In the base,
healing,
on the fountain.
Healing. Fountain, thank you. Water thing, I was thinking. Shamrock Rovers showing why they're the #1 team of the tournament.
Yeah.
And are on an 8-game win streak.
6 games.
Six. Yeah, so we're week 8. No.
We're week 7 right now.
Week 7.
6-game win streak.
6-game win streak. There we go, guys. That's the way it is.
But the quick maths.
Quick math, not so good there. You know, like last week I was talking about Shamrock Rovers, and they were a little bit sloppy last week, and some of their play, they just made mistakes that a top team shouldn't, and that other good teams would be able to take advantage of. But this was a really clean play. Caught out a couple of times, but really, really well done there. And I'm sure... you know, the two captains are feeling, the captain Zoinkers is feeling really good.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, that Swain, man. That's 2 times now that we have seen it, and it has just absolutely destroyed the game. I think as well, Dr. Yeti is a player that you pointed out at the end of the game. His early roam helped set that up even better for him. Obviously, Zoinkers was doing fantastically in the lane, but he spotted the right opportunity to make a play, and that Janna was pretty crucial, especially in that last fight, just to give them enough time and enough space to get that Swain into the fight. Razor as well was fantastic, as he did his job well in the team fights. I mean, this Shamrock Rovers team is going from strength to strength, and even though I think I was questioning the draft that all the picks they let Bray have, but they just executed almost perfectly, like you said. So clean.
So clean. And we talked about how the whole team is a threat, and we saw Razor dominate the jungle in the early game. We saw Dr. Yeti, unsung support, you know, like always, but like some really great crucial moments in team fights, in that Baron, just able to make sure that Shamrock Rovers and the ADC and the mid laner were never even in danger of dying or the Baron getting stolen. Adzi jumping in, doing what he needed to do in the mid game, which was take objectives. So he took down so many towers, not going for kills, not worrying too much about farm, just pushing in, grabbing the turrets, and while his team soaked up so much pressure, just... Shamrock Rovers are looking great. They're improving week to week, and I'm excited to hear from the team captains with Connor and Holly. There you go.
And thanks, Nikita. Thanks, David. What an incredible game that was yet again. Now, for weeks, people have been saying that Shamrock Rovers are the ones to watch. And finally, this week, I think we can say, wow, they are top dog. Dano, how was that for you?
I don't know. You think Bray would learn from Tree's mistakes and ban Swain, but they left it open again, and we took a first pick. So, looking for the back-to-back MVP. I need another 50 euro, so... hopefully I get it again.
Well, Dano, tell you what, sum that up in a word. Sum what happened there up in one single word.
I can't, I don't know.
Right, going to give you some time to think about it.
I'll say it for you, Dano. Easy.
Okay, well, that was the word I was going to...
Hold it back.
Have you got your own word?
Unlucky.
Unlucky versus easy, right? We let you sort of digest exactly what happened just now. We let you take a little bit of a breath. You can send us a message on the link down below if you're watching on Twitch. You can also send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, and online, EStars.pro. We will be back in a couple of seconds to get the proper full thoughts of Captain Adam and Smiling Dano.
This is the biggest challenge of their lives. This is the fastest growing spectator sport in the world.
They seriously don't understand how good I am at this game, and we are going to win this.
Hi, I'm Liam from 3 Ireland's EStars.
Hi, I'm Tim from Peak.
And we're here to launch 3 Ireland's EStars merchandise.
Designed by Peak.
Cut.
Yeah, you're allowed to come off now, mate. Okay. There you go.
Three Ireland's EStars is an amateur gaming competition in which we will give the opportunity to an amateur gamer to become Ireland's next EStar. We've partnered with the clubs across the League of Ireland, so there already is a rivalry there on a competition. We're dipping into that rivalry and we're taking it to the gaming scene. Peak is a very similar brand to ourselves, what Tim Crew's trying to do and break into the markets, and similar to us, we're looking to break into a new market as well. I think there's a great synergy there between ourselves and Peak.
It's a really exciting partnership. It's such a new business. I think it's amazing to give anybody an opportunity to be able to go on a big stage in front of thousands and thousands of people, and the final is going to be immense.
Right, we've had the opportunity to digest that much in a similar way that you would digest a 4-star pizza, washed down by some Lucasade, our proud sponsors of 3 Ireland's EStars.
I like you got that in.
Yeah,
good,
very
good
well
work.
done. Holly, a victorious Shamrock Rovers.
Absolutely, Dano. I mean, we actually got a smile out of Dano this
Easy on,
evening.
Tiger.
You can
Easy
tell,
on.
sitting pretty at the top of the table now. That was a really good game, very clean game for you. You must be happy.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be that easy. I'm sorry, Mil, but the draft, I thought Tom there, he does a draft, and I thought it was going to be a lot harder. You know, he's going to get the OP picks, but he left Swain open again, so I was happy with that. They thought it was going top lane. That's the power of Swain, like the flex pick. So they start banning mid laners, and then we just took it mid lane anyway, and we had a good matchup for top. So we were worried about Mil top because he's probably their carry of the team, and he's against a gold top laner, which it's a bit of a mismatch, but thankfully he didn't get a lead, and we were able to keep even.
Yeah, a lot of people very happy with that result. A lot of your team very, very happy. Are you starting to feel quite confident looking ahead to that grand prize, top of the leaderboard? It looks pretty good right now.
Yeah, I was looking at the matchups, and the last 3 weeks we had, they were pretty hard games, so I was kind of nervous coming into this one, but after we got this win, I'd say guaranteed playoffs now, so I'm happy with that. So.
Absolutely. I mean, looking back at the last few weeks, was there a point you thought that this wouldn't happen, or have you thought, yeah, we're pretty confident, we're the best?
When we had to sub our support, but our support that we got, he was actually really good for just coming in out of nowhere. He's never played 5v5s before, so for him to come in and perform the way he did was really impressive. So shout out to him.
Dano, well done. Congratulations. Great game. Oh, commiserations to Adam, though. At least he's taking it like a champ, as usual.
Well, he is taking it like a champ, but there's something has to happen now, right? We'll let you into a wee secret here. What happens during defeats? Do you end up trading names, giving each other's, taking... Well, explain this to me.
So, last week, Rengus said to Dano that he changed his name to Zoinkers if he lost. So, and he did lose. So I thought it would be a good idea to tweet out on Twitter, if I lose another game at Ireland EStars, I will change my name to Zoinkers. So now I have to change my name to Zoinkers. But on the other hand, I get to plug my Twitter on stream. So at Hey Guys It's Moo, please follow me.
Hey guys, it's Moo. It's Moo, right. So that means now there's 3 Zoinkus, or Zoinkai, if you like, if that's the plural of it.
They're multiplying.
They are. Now, when Rengus did this, and no disrespect to Rengus, since he's done this, I suppose the form of the 3 team has dipped a little bit. Are you not a bit afraid that could happen to you?
I think our form's already dipped, so we can only go up from here.
Right, tell me about this now. The next 3, look, it's massively pivotal for you. You couldn't really afford to lose that game, right? You need to whitewash all in front of you in order for you to be in the playoffs. How can you do that?
Well, I think against 3, we match up really well versus them because I'm used to playing against Rengus a lot, and I think we match up.
Zoinkers, actually, it is, actually, yeah.
No, he changed back. He didn't keep it. Yeah, he didn't keep it.
Oh, it's not in the rules.
I'm going to keep it for at least a week.
Cowards.
So, yeah, I think we match up really well into 3. I think it's probably our best matchup of the whole tournament. And then last week is Limerick. So they have 1 win. They're going to stay at 1 win.
Now, you've been very strong with this trash talk right throughout the tournament. The wheels are getting a little bit creaky now. Are you going to maintain that sort of stature of bravado?
Of course, everyone else is trash, and I'm the best.
There you go. Even though he's just been defeated, I would love to see. I would love to see what Bo's.
Was unlucky.
Well, this is something, Adam, that throughout the weeks we've been talking about. It's the early game for you. That's the issue. Do you feel like that's something that you've improved on, or is it getting worse, in fact?
I don't know if it could get worse, but it definitely hasn't improved. Put it that way.
How do we improve now? Moving forward, look, you've got all your fans watching on Twitch at the moment. This will be all across the world in, I suppose, social media chunks in the next couple of days. Look down that camera. Tell your fans, not your Twitter feed again. At I am Moo, by the way. Your Twitter feed. Hey guys, it's Moo. All right. Tell me, how will you improve?
We're going to practice a load and not be bad, and then we'll start winning.
Efficient.
Practice a load and not be bad. Do Shamrock Rovers see that happening?
Well,
them not being bad?
What I want to know from Dano, I mean, at this point, who is your biggest competition? You know, we talked about you are being named by quite a lot of people here. Shamrock Rovers is the one to beat for you. Who is that team?
Probably Sligo. After they stopped tilting from the first early weeks, and they're starting to look a lot better now. So, also Dundalk. I see Goose looking at me. But they have to play each other, Dakin and Goose, and they're self-proclaimed best junglers in Ireland, so it should be a good matchup to watch.
And it's your ability to change tactics, isn't it? That's something you've been consistent with. You're one of the teams that are very hard to predict what you're going to do next, and that's actually the issue for a lot of the teams here, that watching some of the action, we kind of get an idea of what they're going to do, but not so much with you.
Yeah, Adzi, he plans like the draft like a week in advance. He's the one that just sits there and looks through all their OPGGs and finds out what they're going to play. So like he tells us what they're going to ban and pick, and mostly it comes up. But yeah, if they keep leaving Swain open, I'm just going to keep force picking it. So just a little warning for anybody.
Was that a bit of fighting talk from you there, Dano? Give it us again.
Was it?
A bit of fighting talk, come on.
Everyone else is trash. We're top of the leaderboard. I don't care about any other team.
So
this doesn't come quite as naturally as it does to Adam.
He's trash, you're trash. They're all trash. It's trash all together. Look, it could be done and dusted for you in the next game. How do you stop that happening? Because we've heard communication. That's all you need to do. Tonight was one of the loudest nights in Big Betty that we've heard. Have yous been loud? Do you have to improve that?
I think our comms need to be better, yeah. Our comms have been quite weak recently. I think that's just due to a lack of practice. We need to practice more.
Right, practice more. Their comms have been poor. Holly Hamilton, are your comms poor?
My comms are always poor. I have to listen to you.
Indeed, she does.
That's how many comms I get.
Thankfully, you won't have to listen to me for much longer, because I'm going to take a quick break.
Video games are the latest craze to sweep the...
Once, gaming was a simple pursuit. Groundbreaking, yet limited.
Video fever. The games people play.
And then, it evolved.
This is the next generation of video games, but these...
And so too did the gamer.
Professional, competitive video gaming.
You see, the thing about evolution,
This is what kids are doing. This is what people want to see.
it never ends.
I wanted you to know that I am ready to go. Heartbeat, my heartbeat.
Now, we're here. On the Vegas Strip.
Is it going to connect?
Gonna stay close to Jake. Oh! Your champion, Ghost Gaming. Las Vegas Patty is gonna be there. Big upset.
Anyone can play. Are you ready? Ready?
This is the biggest challenge of their lives. This is the fastest growing spectator sport in the world.
They seriously don't understand how good I am at this game, and we are going to win this.
Hi, I'm Liam from 3 Ireland's EStars.
Hi, I'm Tim from Peak.
And we're here to launch 3 Ireland's EStars merchandise.
Designed by Peak.
Cut.
Yeah, you're allowed to come off now, mate. Okay. There you go.
Three Ireland's EStars is an amateur gaming competition in which we will give the opportunity to an amateur gamer to become Ireland's next EStar. We've partnered with the clubs across the League of Ireland, so there already is a rivalry there and a competition. We're dipping into that rivalry and we're taking it to the gaming scene. Peak is a very similar brand to ourselves, what Tim Crew's trying to do and break into the markets, and similar to us, we're looking to break into a new market as well. I think there's a great synergy there between ourselves and Peak.
It's a really exciting partnership. It's such a new business. I think it's amazing to give anybody an opportunity to be able to go on a big stage in front of thousands of people, and the final is going to be immense.
This is the biggest challenge of their lives.
This is the fastest growing spectator sport in the world.
They seriously don't understand how good I am at this game, and we are going to win this.
Hello and welcome back to Limerick. Now, I am joined by somebody very, very special, someone who has had to step into the breach for Limerick this evening. I'm joined by Sai, and you may notice something different about Sai compared to some of the other players that we have. We have finally got a girl, Sai. Give me a high five. Now, tell me first, how did you get involved with this?
I actually didn't intend to get involved in this. I was just asked out of nowhere, and I thought it's a good tournament, might as well take the chance, and that's how I got in.
And esports in general, is that something that you are a big fan of? You obviously play, big fan of League of Legends.
I'm a big fan of League of Legends. As for esports, I am a fan, but I'm more of a player than a watcher, so I tend to just play on my own and rather than watch.
And come on, give us a chance to talk about just how good you are. Tell us about some of your skills. Where will they be looking for you to step in tonight?
I think they'll be looking for me to step in is to just peel for my AD carry, to be honest, and maybe get some picks. I'm a bit aggressive in lane, but also, I'm always looking for a kill, always looking for a window of opportunity to land an ability and maybe just catch them out. And that's, I think, the best that I can offer for my team at the moment.
Do you think that there is a difference, Si, between how girls approach the game compared to blokes? I mean, is there a difference or is it all just the same?
I think for girls who have never been into it, they will feel it as a bit different. But once you're in it, it's just about the same. And it really depends on what the girls take it themselves as. So you can take it as like a girl who's from outside, or you can take it as just how any other guy takes it for themselves.
Because let's be honest, it is interesting. You know, anyone who is into gaming at all, you know, it's very unusual. There's still plenty of female gamers, there are, but we just don't see as many. Why do you think that is?
Honestly, one reason is usually we're not as good. That's being honest. But another reason is there is a bit of a stigma still about girl gamers, in that in game I usually just don't say to people that I'm a girl. I try not to tell people, even in other games, I don't tell people I'm a girl just because I feel like I'm gonna get treated differently, and I don't want that.
That's so interesting, and it actually continues in all walks of life, I can tell you that. Now let's talk about the game. Big, tough one for Limerick against 3. I mean, 3 were actually probably one of the favourites throughout this tournament until the last few weeks. Limerick have only had one win rather. Do you think you're going to make the difference?
I will try and be that difference, but Team 3 is definitely a hard team to beat. No questions asked. They have Cramp on ADC, who is very experienced and has a very distinct pressure when you're laning against him. And their top laner is just the best in Ireland at the moment, so it will definitely be a tough one. And honestly, we'll need a miracle, but we will try our best to just make it at least a hard game for them to win.
And have you been following, you obviously have been following the tournament so far. This is the biggest esports tournament of its kind in Ireland. What do you think of it?
At first it was a bit shaky, but I loved how the tournament itself listened to the players and the community, and now I think it's actually one of the best tournaments there is for Ireland for League of Legends.
So I love that. I love the idea that we're obviously coming together as a community. We've been working together throughout the last few weeks. We've been making a lot of friends as well over the last few weeks. There's one in particular, Ted. We have to talk about Ted. You are an official member of the Teddy fan club.
I'm actually here to represent the Tablan fan club, not to play for Limerick. I'm sorry. Shout out to Shauna and Paula, my other 2 girls, and they couldn't make it today, but they were planning to. It's just unfortunate they couldn't. So.
But Sai, you're here representing as a gamer, as a Teddy fan club member. We've got it all going on here. The guys are just setting up. It's not long now until we're getting into the next games. But let's go now over to our casters. Sai, give me a high five. Yeah.
Hey guys, we're back. So, but before we start, guys, follow Moo. If I can focus it, I can't. Okay. Guys, it's Hey Guys, It's Moo
At Hey
on
Guys, It's
Twitter.
Moo.
At Hey Guys, It's Moo. Make sure you give him a follow. I retweeted. I followed him. Gracious in defeat.
Yeah.
Great trash talker.
Yeah.
Great player. Unfortunate, just the team hasn't clicked and hasn't worked out. But really, really great play coming out of Shamrock Rovers. They've just they stepped it up since last week. Whereas last week I was like, ooh, I think some of the other teams might be able to take advantage of their weaknesses. This week, I think they have cemented their position as the best team in this tournament.
I think they just they're finding ways to improve every week as well. Which when you're already the best, it's tough to stay at the top. But they are somehow managing to just keep doing that. I think on the other side as well, after that loss, Bray, it's looking like they might be actually outside of the playoff spots. Obviously, they got 2 more weeks to move themselves back into that place in the table. But for the moment, they'll be on the outside looking in by the looks of things. And considering the battle the battle that they face with all the other teams around that place in the table, it's not where you really want to be.
No, it's not. And I'm sure it's not a... I mean, it's a tough pill to swallow for someone like Moo, who thinks he is the best at the game in Ireland. Whether his words, not mine.
Yeah.
But no, it definitely it's tough. I'm not sure if we'd have to do special statistics, but I think we're gonna get the scoreboard up and we'll see what's gonna happen. So here we are. So most of the games have been played today. At the moment, Shamrock Rovers sole possession of first, and then we have a tie with for second with Sligo and St. Pat's. If 3 do get the win over Limerick, which I expect them to, they'll jump up to tie for second place, and then we have Bray Wanderers sitting just after, and I think Dundalk is playing against Cork.
Yep, Dundalk and Cork City. The winner of that match will tie up with Bray Wanderers at 4 and 3, and once again keep themselves in that playoff hunt. I think the loser will have a really tough road back. They will be 2 games off of those playoffs in any case, so they would need an absolute miracle just in terms of how the standings work out to even be involved in any sort of tiebreaker. Beyond that point, it's looking difficult indeed. So that's a pretty crucial game. But looking at the one that we have coming up next, Team 3 against Limerick. Limerick on home soil have had a pretty rough ride, but they did manage to get that win against Derry, so it hasn't been totally bad. But even so, this is looking like a tough one for them at home. They'd have a substitute in. We saw Savage Otter previously on the stream there. Happy to sub in, and like she even said herself, they're kind of hoping for a miracle
Savage
in this
Otter?
one. Yep,
that's such a cool handle. Love it. That's awesome. And you know what? She's right. At the end of the day, I think to me, she said like she thinks that there aren't as many girls in gaming because they're not as good. For me, I don't think that there's any reason that they can't be as good. I think it's a numbers thing. The fact is, you have millions and millions of guys playing, and only a small number of them are good, despite what the majority of them think that they are. They think they're gold, but they should be challenger and it's their team. But in reality, they're just not that good. But I think as gaming opens up more and more, hopefully we will see more girls getting into it, because I think gaming is great and there's absolutely no reason girls can't be
fantastic. The more people involved,
especially when they have creative handles like that.
Yeah, certainly. I imagine
Moo, Savage Otter, Zoinkers, Savage Otter. My name is Kevin and I am Keverman, Savage Otter. I mean, we're not exactly.
I like Kevin Man's one. It's a statement. He's Kevin. He's a man. It's it's clear.
I mean, we saw him. He established his dominance by stripping off on stream.
Oh yeah, he did.
So definitely making sure.
And then lost to Shamrock
and then lost.
So
but
went
there we go.
A little bit awry.
Just see how things go. So we can see Catalan there in the middle in his Katarina cosplay. Hopefully he actually gets to play the champion this time.
Yeah.
I retweeted it, guys. Go check it out. But definitely, hoping that he is able to finally get
Just
it.
one Katarina game. And if it's going to be any week, it has to be the home game.
Yeah.
When he's cosplaying as the Katarina.
We're jumping in. Oh, it's good. Oh,
Yeah,
it is
okay.
Dundalk versus Cork. So, okay. So, we thought it was going to be 3 versus Limerick, but we are getting Dundalk versus Cork. So, first ban is going to be Yasuo. Obviously, Cork used it last week. It was very well played. Eloy getting banned away, targeting top lane. Trundle and Talia being taken away from Dundalk.
Yeah.
And Zach being taken away
I
from
think
Cork.
both these teams making pretty smart bans. Cork, generally, a lot of their players are reliant on those one strong picks. That's why you see the Alawi and the Yasuo being taken away.
Yeah, so we see the Yasuo and Alawi being taken away because they're targeted bans. Trundle and Zach obviously just strong picks at the moment. Swain very strong. Talia I think is targeted at Dundalk's mid laner, who is very good
yes,
on Talia. I
had
mean, last
a
week.
pretty good performance on that champion last week.
Really, really
and
good.
Considering he's not one of the team's star players, he's actually contributing pretty heavily when he gets that
Yeah.
Talia. So denying that, I think, is pretty important. Dundalk will first pick the Caitlyn for themselves in that bottom lane. The response will be the Braum for Cork here. Early power picks, as expected, being traded back and forth between these two teams. The Gragas, though, for Cork. I do know their jungler is, despite Gragas maybe not being at the top of the meta, he is a huge Gragas player, was spamming him when he was one of the best junglers in the game, so in any case, has the experience necessary to perform.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I didn't expect that. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, Gragas is a very good jungler, in a really good spot, or what was. I don't know how...
He did receive a couple of buffs a couple of patches ago.
Yeah.
So I know a few of the players were trying him out. Didn't really settle in the meta, I think, but...
I don't think he's strong enough to challenge the top. Like, he's not so strong that he's going to dip into that tier S or A, but he probably sits comfortably at B.
Yeah, certainly. I think that...
As in good, but not... Not great, but not bad. Good.
Yeah, fine. It's fine, and especially when you have
Ari coming out on side Dundalk.
Yeah, that is one of the champions that Dundalk's mid laner does like to go to, despite as well not being best in the meta. It's just a nice mid lane pick that you can go for, and maybe not feeling too comfortable with the Talia gone. Wanted to get that pick in early.
But this is interesting because, and again, it's something I touched on early on, especially when Cork were able to beat Shamrock and they chose unusual champs. It's like, do you default to meta? Do you default to your comfort picks? What matters more? I mean, ultimately, what matters is getting the win. And if you are comfortable and good enough on Gragas or Ari, doesn't matter that they're not the very best mid laners or jungler. If you're good enough on them, they're in a decent spot and you can still have an impact. And we see Kled coming out for Cork.
Yeah, Kled is a champion that also frequently enough gets banned away from Sprinkles in that top lane after the Alawi, who's obviously the main champion coming in. Dundalk, though, using their AD carry priority, which I think is a good call here. Cork still have to lock in both of their carry champions on the side, and given they have the advantage over AD carry, they can really just chip away at the available pool, just take away the top tier AD carries after they already got the Caitlyn for themselves, and
Zaya's still up.
Create an advantage there. There is the Zaya and the Kaisa still available.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of hard to log it out because you also have the Varus, who has dropped down in priority, but I don't think he hasn't been nerfed.
I think maybe the Gwynsu's changes, I think, were...
yeah, the Gwynsu. Okay, yeah. But he was... The thing is, he was high in priority, but wasn't necessarily being executed in pro play and our tournament as well. So, Veigar being taken away from Cork mid laner. We'll see if they swap that out, but Olaf being taken away from Dundalk. So that's a Trundle and Olaf and Zach being denied to Dundalk. I would imagine he'll default to Sejuani.
And certainly Cork... I'm guessing that they pick up their AD carries here. We talked about a few of the ones that are available. No, not him. We have... I mean, you said the Zaya is one that could work really nicely. Also has pretty safe. We saw Bray go for the Kaisa last game, and that bot lane did have its highlights, despite the fact that things didn't go so well later on in the game. So I think both of those are options if Cork want to go for it. A couple of other picks they could use. Ashe. Going to be taken here. All right. Something... a little bit more utility focused.
Yeah.
By Cork.
I have to see if they're able to execute on it. Yeah, I mean, actually jumping back to the previous game, Kevin Mann, it's a shame he got caught out in that mid lane tier 2 turret, because he was at a very strong point of the game, and I think could have done a lot of damage, but unfortunately he got caught out there. I think as you told me, it was a
recalling,
maybe
I
a
believe.
bad poorly timed recall, poorly positioned recall. I would have liked to have seen the Kaiser really unlock, because we haven't seen her so far in this tournament. But Malphite being taken by Dundalk, which is a nice pick because Ash has no mobility. I was going to say very little, but really none. And while the Braum is obviously a nice peeler.
Graves being picked here.
Jungle Graves.
This is Goose in the jungle. He does like to carry pretty much every game, and it's important that he carries a lot of these games for Dundalk. So going for the Graves here, I might be wrong in saying that Graves received a buff in the last couple of patches.
No, I think he did. I recall seeing it too. Ooh.
Okay, that's a Zed in the mid lane.
I mean, you know what? I said it. If ever there is a time, we were saying these teams are tied 3-3. A loss here is going to drop them down, and it's make it incredibly hard.
Pretty much will knock them out of contention.
Yeah, for playoffs. So if ever there is a time to bring out the Graves to hard carry or the Zed, it's now.
I mean, last week on that Yasuo, Firth in the mid lane had a fantastic performance. Obviously, Zed is a little bit different. It's not it's not his former one-trick champion that we kind of expected from the Yasuo here, but big potential for outplay here. And he's coming in against one of the weaker laners on the side of Dundalk, who has been performing quite nicely recently, but only on that Talia, which was banned away. So maybe
he did grab his
Ari though.
So it'll be interesting to see how good he is on that. Yeah, this is going to be really exciting. I think Graves jungler, Ari mid lane, Zed mid lane. It's going to be great to see.
Gragas jungle as well.
Gragas jungle.
A couple of picks that we are not really accustomed to seeing here, but
no, not recently.
I think all these players will have experience on these champions as well. Like I know that they've gone back to them in their various metas when these champions were good.
Yeah.
So it's certainly I'm looking forward to seeing how they work around it. I do prefer what Dundalk got, because I think the Zed is a pretty risky pick, whereas Ari's like kind of on the other end of it, where she can be quite safe.
Very quick showing of Cork there, just really quickly. But for Dundalk in top lane, Costa Quarter, jungle, Goose, Mikul in the mid lane, Walker Lad as ADC, and Blaze on support.
Blaze also got the Thresh as well. I know when it comes to making plays, that's one of his favorite champions to go to. 56 assists, one of the highest in the competition. I believe Dr.
I think it'd be nice to see Cork if we get the opportunity to. And yeah, there we go. Asking, ye shall receive. Teddy Sprinkles in the top lane, Gulag in the jungle, Firth mid lane, I am Pa as ADC, and Krusty Pants in support.
Gulag actually missed the last week of competition, and he had Ivor sub in for him when it came to that upset win for Cork City against Bose. So Gulag has to keep that going as they come in once again.
He's a very good player, so definitely a strong player. It was a surprise that with him being removed from the team that they managed to secure the win. But this is, I agree with you. So going back to what you're saying about the Zed maybe being... Zed, I don't think has been great for quite a while. Well, I think a lot of people would say, and I think it's harder to carry on. I think it's a case of it's easier for the Ari to not die and still have an impact than it is for the Zed to get the kills needed to carry the game.
I think 100%. You do have to perform individually, I think, especially early on. You have to either find kills in lane by outplaying your opponent pretty heavily, or look to make plays in side lanes, try pick up a few kills that way. You can do a lot with that. You can start blowing up the squishies and moving things like the Caitlyn from the fight before they even start. But even so, I think that the Zed can be risky, and a lot will be on Firth and also Gulag as well, potentially, to just make sure that that Zed is in a strong position.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You've got to make sure that the Zed is in a strong position. So regardless, this should be a very exciting match, and I'm eager to see it because the teams are putting everything on the line here. Clearly want to win, going for their comfort picks. I'm a huge fan of Graves, or used to be. His rework, it's unfortunately he got taken basically away from ADC. But it's definitely It's going to be exciting to see what they can do.
I think this jungle matchup is actually going to make or break the game, just given the role that both of these junglers... Michael giving a wave to the camera. Given the role that both of these junglers actually play for their teams, we talked about Gulag probably has been the star player for Cork throughout the competition. We thought his presence would be actually pretty missed last week, but they seem to do fine without him. However, even so, he can be a big playmaker. Goose on the other side, we talked about his importance for the team, that he generally has to be a big carry, and when he does have those strong performances, that is when Dundalk have been at their peak. And both these players, like we said, on these champions that we didn't really expect to see, both them, especially Cork with that early pick, just skipping the jungle tier list entirely and hopping down to the Gragas.
I mean, definitely. I mean, like grabbing Gragas. I mean, like Goose has gone for a champion that can definitely hard carry if need be. Like Graves can put out so much damage, but Gulag really does need to figure out what he, he needs to have a big impact with that Gragas. I mean, does Gragas, is it building tanky? I'd imagine. Off tank.
I believe so.
Bruiser.
Maybe he goes AP. Who knows?
Full
AP
one
shot AP Gragas.
I thought they removed that.
I
thought they removed that cancer.
2014. That was that was a long time ago.
You know why I know it? Because my friend played it. He loved it.
That was back when I started out in League of Legends, and watching yourself get blown up by this dude with his barrels was wasn't the funnest of times. You can't do that anymore.
So old when it's like, oh, this is the 3-year anniversary of this champion. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah,
I remember that.
How time has flown on Summoner's Rift. Yes. But like I said, I'm excited to see it. I imagine he's going to go for the more tanky aspect. But I think Gulag is at his best when he looks to make a lot of these early ganks happen. And Gragas is a champion who can do that. He's got a lot of that early CC that he can make plays with, and then he gets to level 6, and you have that explosive cask to just amp that up even more.
I mean, it says a lot, by the way, that with the champs that were picked, that we haven't even mentioned the Kled.
Yeah.
There's a Kled in this game, which normally would be like, oh my god, Kled. Now it's like, Kled, who cares? But, he's got to focus on the mid lane to get the Zed going. But Kled is another champ that needs to get a kill or two, and if he does, can dominate so many other champions. But if he falls behind, it's a real problem.
Yeah, certainly. I think that the Kled is an interesting one as well. Around that mid lane for a couple of reasons. First of all, Kled with the charge can make plays from across the map and capitalize on things like that, but they're against the Ahri, who's so difficult to lock down. Michael can play that as safe as he wants and maybe deny a lot of the snowball that Cork will want.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for them. We're going to jump into a quick break, guys, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Video games are the latest craze to sweep the...
Once, gaming was a simple pursuit. Groundbreaking, yet limiting.
Video fever, the games people play.
And then, it evolved.
This is the next generation of video games, but these...
And so too did the gamer.
Professional, competitive video gaming.
You see, the thing about evolution...
This is what kids are doing. This is what people want to see.
It never ends.
I wanted you to know that I am ready to go. Heartbeat, my heartbeat.
Now, we're here. On the Vegas Strip.
Is it going to connect? Stay close to Jake. Your champion, Ghost Gaming. Las Vegas Daddy's going to be there. Big upset.
Anyone can play. Are you ready? Ready?
biggest challenge of their lives.
This is the fastest growing spectator sport in the world.
They seriously don't understand how good I am at this game, and we are going to win this.
Hi, I'm Liam from 3 Ireland's EStars.
Hi, I'm Tim from Peak.
And we're here to launch 3 Ireland's EStars merchandise.
Designed by Peak.
Cut.
Yeah, you're allowed to come off now, mate. Okay. There you go.
Three Ireland's EStars is an amateur gaming competition in which we will give the opportunity to an amateur gamer to become Ireland's next EStar. We've partnered with the clubs across the League of Ireland, so there already is a rivalry there on a competition. We're dipping into that rivalry and we're taking it to the gaming scene. Peak is a very similar brand to ourselves, what Tim Crew's trying to do and break into the markets, and similar to us, we're looking to break into a new market as well. I think there's a great synergy there between ourselves and Peak.
It's a really exciting partnership. It's such a new business. I think it's amazing to give anybody an opportunity to be able to go on a big stage in front of thousands and thousands of people, and the final is going to be immense.
Unfortunately, one of the players was so excited to be casted by Whimsy next to me here, who's just such a incredible force in the Irish scene that he accidentally picked the wrong runes out of nervousness, and they had to remake. It's what happens. It's you know. Yeah. We only pick the best.
If only I could do that in solo queue, because the amount of times I go in, it's like, I don't know. I used to be Courage at the Colossus, like Tryndamere or something. That was yeah.
I'm sure people love playing against you and with you.
Yeah, I think with me's more of the problem. Yeah. I mean, you see that Courage at Colossus Tryndamere on the other team, and it's just like.
So quick, interesting thing here. I think you didn't know this, but a lot of people. So the arena that we're showing during the ads, the arena that the winners of 3 Ireland's EStars are going to go visit, is actually the arena where Ninja recently had his event, the Fortnite stream that now has the world record holder of, I think we had 667,000 viewers. And I say us, well, it was our event. It was the American branch of ELC Gaming. In our flagship venue in Vegas. I mean, as a team and myself, I was so incredibly happy to see us break the record with Drake and get that, and I think it's huge. And I'm excited for the players to be there, and I'm excited for Ireland's EStars to break the next record.
Oh yeah, 100%. We're gonna break 1 million.
Yeah,
maybe. We'll see when we get. We'll see when we get there. But like I said, fantastic prize. It's cool. Like I already had an event of that scale there, and like the winners of this competition get to go there too. So that is awesome.
And I think they take their favorite caster.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens, but. two very exciting picks and bans from Dundalk and Cork.
Yeah.
It's a match we're about to jump into. For those joining us now, we have a Graves on the side of Dundalk. We have an Ari on the side of Dundalk. We have a Gragas on the side of Cork. We have a Zed on the side of Cork. And we have a Cled. But who cares?
Ash as well.
Ash.
Forgot about the Ash.
Against the Thresh.
Yeah.
But with a Braum. And we're going to jump into the game right after this one final little ad.
This is the biggest challenge of their lives. This is the fastest growing spectator sport in the world.
They seriously don't understand how good I am at this game, and we are going to win this.
Guys, make sure you buy your tickets for the 13th of May, 3 Arena in Dublin. Come along. We have a bunch of streamers coming along. I think Yogscast is confirmed, Gross Gore. I will be there. Whimsy will be there. Hopefully we'll have a couple of other people who are secretly under wraps. We'll have the players. It's going to be super exciting. It's going to be a chance to meet them in person and everything. It'll be great.
It will be. It'll fantastic event, so make sure that you guys are going there because there's so much stuff going down. Finals once again, 13th of May, 3 Arena. Be there or be square.
Super fun game.
To the game.
Be
to
there
the
or
game
be
at
square.
hand. Dundalk against Cork City. Final game of the day that we have here on this stream. Both these teams pretty much playing to keep themselves in the competition. Dundalk on the blue side, a team who have found quite a nice bit of form recently and are potentially looking for an upset run through the bracket. Cork themselves coming off a surprise win against Bohemians last week and will look to once again deliver in that regard. Because if they don't, they will likely find themselves out of the competition.
Yeah, I mean, this is really a do-or-die match for both of these teams. They're tied up 3-3 apiece, and whoever loses is basically definitely probably not going to make playoffs. I mean, crazy things can happen, but it's going to be incredibly difficult, whereas whoever wins it is going to get that chance to stay in contention. You can see the drafts, they're a bit crazy team comps, not what we would expect, and that's really because the teams are just picking the champs they feel the most comfortable and they feel that they can carry with, and we'll have to see which of them is actually right and who's going to come out ahead.
Yep, certainly. It's going to be interesting to see. I think as well how the junglers impact this game. Oh, hang on a second. Krusty Pants already so low. Blaze looking for the aggressive play. They hook the Braum back in. Heal being used. A lot of summoner spells blown and so much damage coming out onto I Am Pat. The flash forward from Walkerlad. He's able to get it, but the tower aggro will mean that Krusty Pants can get the kill in response. Dundalk, though, laying down the law in this early lane.
Just great aggression coming out of them, and it was definitely something you highlighted with Blaze on the Thresh, but we see just straight away able to jump in, hook up Krusty Pants, and do so much damage he's forced to flash away. Unfortunately, Walkerlad just slightly overextends, takes too many tower hits, and dies again, but not after securing first blood for himself, which allows him to buy a call.
Yeah, he will be able to get himself back to that lane. It does allow Krusty Pants a bit of time to farm up the minions as well, so he can likely equalize a little bit of extra first blood gold that Walkerlad would have gotten. Maybe over aggressive there from the Caitlyn. Thought she could get away. In any case, I'm excited to see how this bot lane develops now. After that first fight, you know that Blaze will be looking to get back into the lane to make more of these plays, and if Dundalk can win that 2v2, they're in a fantastic spot.
No, absolutely, and it's definitely the aggression I was hoping for. I mean, Blaze trying to hook up Krusty Pants, and yeah, unfortunately, a slight issue there.
Yeah.
But you know, grabbing the Thresh, Ash is just not very mobile. Isn't. I keep saying not very, but like she just isn't.
Nope.
So being able to hook her, and if she's not able to dodge things, but we see again a little bit more aggression.
Yeah, we do see Blaze looking for the play. The hook is dodged out of, but Goose looking to see if he can capitalize on that one. I'm not sure the flash is available for this Braum, so they can just focus him up. Does actually have the flash in the back pocket, and I Am Pack can get away from this one. We do see in the top lane pretty active trades as well. There's a lot of fighting early in this game between these two teams. Both going at it. They know what's at stake. Gulak looking to see if he can capitalize. The electrocute hits. Gulak flashing forward and manages to take out Goose under his own tower. Great response by the Gragas in this bottom lane, and Cork find themselves with the lead.
Absolutely, great retaliation from Gulag, jumping in, following Goose, knowing he can secure the kill, and now we see Cork is actually 500 gold ahead of Dundalk, despite First Blood being secured by Dundalk. This is action-packed all across the board. Teddy Sprinkles having to back off a little bit with...
Oh, the flash forward from Costa Corda trying to finish off that kill. Not able to do it. Does get the corresponding flash out of Teddy Sprinkles, but... My, oh my, aggression everywhere in the first 5 minutes of this game.
Everyone is going full out to try and just dominate their lane and then to use that to snowball the game from there. We'll have to see what is able to happen from that, but definitely, I mean, you would have thought Dundalk would have the advantage, but Cork have played it quite well, able to turn things around, and we'll have to see what happens going on from here. But 5 minutes in, 3 kills.
That's exactly what you want. Looking like it's going to be a bloodbath here, which is always the most fun kind of game. I like the idea from Dundalk. Get it to this bot lane. We've seen that Blaze is looking to make these plays. You back it up with the Graves. You get the Graves a couple of kills, and he is probably going to have quite an impact on the map, but not able to execute. And on the other side, Gulag, he knows this Greg is inside out, knew that he could go under that tower, finish off the kill, had the aftershock for a little bit of extra help, and certainly it was really well played there by the Cork jungler to pick off that extra kill and put them 2-1 up.
It absolutely was, and both teams just going ham because they're putting everything on the line, because everything is on the line. Or 20,000 euros is on the line.
Yeah, certainly. You do not want to find yourselves out of playoff contention at this early stage. Looking at the top lane now, probably one of the quieter matchups that we may intend seeing, despite the fact Costa Corda tried to go aggressive for that kill. He does have the early level 6, so Teddy Sprinkle's going to have to play defensively for the moment on this Kled. Early trade's not really been going in his favor, and you mentioned before the game the need to get this Kled snowballing, but right now he's not getting too much in the way of support.
No, he's not, but he's keeping up in farm, and so we'll have to just see if, especially once he gets his level 6, if he can do something with that, maybe in the mid lane or with a good TP in the bot lane. But it's having to play a little bit further back, I think, than he was hoping to. I'm always surprised that Riot got away with Kled's mount. It looks so much like a chocobo. Do you know what chocobo is?
I do not. That's a reference. Goose might be caught out. Oh, we do see the death mark follow him over the wall, and this should be a dead Graves coming in. We do actually, the Lantern comes in just in time, and Walker Lat with the heal for extra measure. It was a nice try by Firth there on that Zed, but Goose does manage to get away.
Actually, and then a bit of action in top lane.
Sprinkles knocked off of his mount. Costa Corda has the unstoppable force. He should be able to turn this into a kill if Sprinkles cannot get back onto Skarl in the nick of time, and it is not there. Costa Corda with a solo kill in the top lane.
If Sprinkles had one auto attack, he would have gotten the mount back and would have been able to turn that around, and that's the whole thing about Kled. Is you're always playing on this needle's edge, like this cliff's edge of a fine line of going aggressive, putting yourself into danger to be able to get your mount back and then do more damage. But action in the mid lane, we can see a bit of trading happening.
See it in the bottom lane as well, looking to lock up Walker Lad. The Ash Gragas combo is lethal. Gulag with the second kill of the game.
Gotta say, Gulag has been everywhere on the map. He's been just ganking non-stop, pressuring it, and really putting a lot of pressure on Goose whenever they do find him. So this Gragas pick really paying off at the moment.
Yeah, it's certainly a great start here for the Cork jungler, which is needed considering the importance of him and the importance of Goose on the other side as well. It seems as if the Gragas has gotten off to a better start, but certainly Dundalk doing pretty nicely. We see in the solo lane, Michael was able to pressure this Zed out. It is actually the change diary. They did put the damage amp back on her E if she lands it, which I personally love that change. I did not like it when they removed it, and now that it's back, she's back to being more of an assassin, which is pretty awesome. And
I think they changed it because of the itemization that came up and the way it comboed with the assassin item changes. But yeah, I never liked it. I think it's such a key part of her kit in that if she hits it, then you know that there's a lot of damage coming in, and it makes a lot of sense. I never liked that change. Glad they put it back in. But Costa Corda doing really well in the top lane. Getting the solo kill on the Kled. He's up in farm, and is actually probably the reason that Dundalk is now even in gold despite the early
happy
gold.
to bully this Kled out. Has his ultimate back up in a few seconds, so Sprinkles, you may be wanting to get Skarl back in just a few, otherwise he might be looking for kill number 2 on that Malphite here. Solo lanes with big pressure for Dundalk, which we're not normally expecting to see. We do see the ultimate come out here, and the burst damage from Costa Corda might be enough. The auto attacks are not there. Scar will not be coming back to you, my friend. Gusto looking for the play bottom lane. The exhaust comes down onto him, and nice lantern to make sure that he can get away from that just fine. Cork hoping to capitalize maybe on a kill there, but no dice.
Yeah, I saw Goose rotating down, and I thought he was sneaking in for a kill, but then on the side of Cork, the mid laner and the jungler also rotated down, trying to focus on that. But Costa Corda just smashing this Kled in the top lane. He's not able to do anything, and that's 2 solo kills now that he's managed to get. And giving the gold lead over to Dundalk, he is hard carrying on the mouth fight from the top lane.
Yes,
and actually the hard farming Graves is actually about 15 CS ahead of his opponent Gulag.
I'm not sure how that compares to the 2 kills that this Gragas has, but certainly in the top lane, it is an advantage for Costa Corda here on the Malphite. Teddy Sprinkles finally gets the Kled, but he is struggling quite harshly on it in this early laning phase. And with Malphite stacking up that armor, it's only set to get tougher. This Malphite can just build a lot of armor into this very heavily AD comp on the side of Cork. We do see the Deathmark come in the mid lane, and this should be a dead Ari. Nice play there from the Cork jungle mid combo. This Zed finally has a kill.
And the gold going exactly where they wanted to.
Another trade though in the bottom lane here, looking for the damage onto I and Pal. Walker Line with a quick flash to the side of the Glacial Fissure means that the Braum is dead, and Goose flashing forward onto Krusty Pants does have the collateral damage to finish this one off, make that a double kill for this Graves as he catches up to his opposing number.
Just as I say, the gold is going exactly where they wanted to for Cork on the Furf, on the Zed. Goose finally manages to execute a great gank in the bot lane, gets himself a double kill, and is now streaming ahead. 1,000 gold lead going over to Dundalk. Cork trying to pressure that mid lane tower, but Costa Corda rotating down and able to prevent that. But 3 people hammering the bot lane turret gives Dundalk first turret gold, and now they are 2,000 gold ahead at 12 minutes.
Kled looking for the charge. We do see the enchanted crystal arrow connect as well. Caitlyn, you are dead. Teddy Sprinkles able to get 1 kill back for his team. The teleport not completed by Costa Corda either. He does not want to get involved with the rest of Dundalk making their exit. Cork get 1 back, but losing those kills, losing that bot lane tower, they are still coming out on the worst end.
They are, but there's a real chance for them to be able to grab this bottom lane turret now with 3 people and even up a little bit of that gold. But the lane wave isn't exactly there, but no one is rotating over from the side of Dundalk, so they're just going to keep pushing. But we can see Costa Corda is in the top lane pushing himself.
It's looking like this will be a trade of side lane towers. So Dundalk will be keeping their goal lead pretty much as it is, which is just under 2,000. And after a few plays at the start did not work out in their favor, finally finding 1 big fight in the bottom lane, and just the power of Costa Corda in these first 12 minutes is enough to grant them a lead that they can work with.
Yeah, absolutely. Able to turn it around, but it will be interesting to see what happens now. Where do they go from? Because this mid lane turret is halfway down. There is a Drake that's alive. Rift Herald is up, and we see pings from the side of Cork. But Cork is not going silently. They are not going quietly, and they are fighting hard. And Gulag is being a monster really on the map, and it'll be interesting. What can they do?
And we'll see how Cork attempts to come back into this game despite the deficit that they face. Dundalk with control over the bottom side of the map can make a pretty easy play for this Ocean Drake. They'll be trading it for the Rift Herald. I think Cork are making out a little bit better in this case.
Yeah.
They can turn that into a nice bit of extra gold to put themselves back into it with that one, whereas the Sustain maybe is less likely to have much of an impact. But look at the pressure they've already had mid lane. Dundalk just send a few bodies there, get a push going. They can probably finish off that tower. Rift Herald will be secured by Cork here, so all it takes is for, like Dundalk, all it takes is for them to set up the nice wave, and they can start getting themselves some of that standing gold. These teams trading objectives pretty evenly across the map.
Yeah, I was going to say, I definitely prefer the Rift Herald for that reason, because at the end of the day, what matters is objectives, it's towers, and Cork are behind on that, so the Rift Herald should help them secure mid or top or wherever they choose to focus on. But the danger is that Dundalk secure mid turret, and Costa Corda just farming this bot lane and just doing a little bit of damage to the bot lane turret. So
he has a 3-level advantage over that Kled.
Yeah.
That is a scary, scary situation here for Teddy Sprinkles. He has not been afforded much, and look at the farm difference it's also resulted in as well.
2 levels ahead of Firth. the mid laner. He's pretty monstrous at the moment. Most farm, most kills, or tied for most kills. Yeah, he's sitting in a great spot, and I think it's going to be tough for someone from Cork to be able to deal with him, but it is, we'll have to see what do they use the Rift Herald on, how do they get some of these objectives and get a little bit of the gold back and try and bring it a little bit more even, because now they're 3,000 gold behind at 15 minutes.
And certainly things are looking tricky for Cork City. They can use the Rift Herald to get a little bit of that gold back, but for the moment, they have to be wary about the fights they take, because they do not have the stats to match up to Dundalk in a lot of these cases here, especially in this 1 versus 1. This is something that they will need to find an answer for, because this Malphite's still 3 levels up on Teddy Sprinkles. This Kled is having such a hard time, even just trying to defend away from being pushed in.
Yeah, and we can see the second Malphite comes into view, Kled just turns around and runs away. Just not at all even giving Costa Corda the opportunity to jump on him.
Blaze stepping forward in that mid lane, looking to make a few more plays on this Thresh. Dundalk happy to sit in this mid lane and defend for the moment. The Malphite, though, sneaking through the jungle, has a nice avenue onto the backline. Might be looking for some sort of play, but Cork scouted out. They're willing to back off, but the pressure that Costa Corda can create, given his advantage, is still an issue that Cork have to face.
Yeah, and he's at a really just finished Sunfire, got the shield up and so on, so he's extremely strong. We see Krusty Pants ultimate whiff, unfortunately. And the pressure is, and they haven't used the Rift Herald. It is now 2/3 of the way through its cooldown.
Yeah.
And the waves are just not in a position where they are able to.
And certainly, that top lane is looking to likely slow push into that top lane tower, and we saw the Malphite able to control the state of the bottom lane wave as well. All in all, Cork are not able to really move around and work with these minion waves as much as they would like, and as a result, Dundalk will maintain the lead that they currently have and keep Cork pressed back on their own side of the map.
Yeah, and it starts so well for Cork. You know, Gulag was all over the map, getting kills, really building things up. And even though Firth was able to get a kill, it suddenly slowed down, and it's just the pushing power. And a lot of it, I think, really does come down to Costa Corda, who is so strong, and they're not looking, they're not grouping, so they're not giving Cork the opportunity to actually just have a 5-on-5 or 4-on-4. They're just slow pushing, using good wave management to create a lot of pressure and take objectives from Cork without giving too many opportunities for them to engage and take anything back.
We saw the Spirit Rush being used there by Michael, trying to find the pick onto this Ashe. Wasn't able to get it. It's likely we're going to see the Rift Herald, I think, used in base tier, because it is about to time. And we do see the engage under tower, though. They are missing their Gragas, and that Braum is just bursted out immediately. Flash is being used to get away from this engage, but the damage is already done. Cork are away from this mid lane tower. It will be taken down, as well as the kill over to Dundalk.
And this is what's so dangerous. We said Goose needed to carry. He got the double kill in the bot lane after a bit of a mishap early on, but once he got that double kill, it gave him the gold that he needed to get going. His Black Cleaver's done. Costa Corda is a monster on the Malphite. No one can really deal with him, and suddenly they go for the engage once they see that Gulag's backed off and grab the turret straight away. And this is the problem that Cork is having, is they're not getting any engages from Dundalk. Dundalk are not giving them the opportunity, and the only people that they can jump on are someone like the Malphite, who one can get away, and two is just incredibly strong at this moment in time.
He is stacking that armor up, so a lot of damage coming out from him onto the squishy members, as well as just being able to resist most of the damage coming in from Cork City. It is tough to see what they can do, even at this stage in the game, when Dundalk can get under those towers and just make fights happen. They do have a lot of pick potential between that Gragas and the Ashe to try and make things happen, but they need to find the right opportunities, and for the last while, Dundalk have been able to deny it pretty nicely. When those Ashe ultimates aren't connecting, there's seemingly very little that Cork can do. We do see the charge in the mid lane, though, as they look to see if they can catch out Blaze. Goose is on the side though. If they want to join the fight, they go all in onto this threat, but he's not going to go there. Redemption as well, and Michael just picking off the members on the back. So much damage already done. Collateral damage from Goose will get the second kill of the fight. Teddy Sprinkles is caught out completely and make that a double for Goose. Flashing over, he wants 3, should be able to get it with a couple more autos. So Walker Lad will take it away with the ace in the hole. I doubt Dundalk mine. 4 kills for them in that fight.
I mean, I was about to say that's exactly what Cork needs to do, is get those picks. They need to use the Gragas Ash combo to grab someone, get them out. But Blaze is just too tanky. He managed to absorb so much. Michael was too mobile, never got caught out, and then turns around and gets a kill. And instead, Cork try to get the pick on the support, unable to do anything, and Dundalk turned it around and get 4 kills, 2 turrets, and an inhibitor.
The damage coming out of Dundalk at this stage in the game is more than Cork can handle, well more than Cork can handle here. Looking to move back for that Infernal Drake. We do see Cork creeping towards that top side of the map. Maybe looking to catch some unawares, but Dundalk know what is up. They're going to back off the Infernal Drake for now and make sure that the Baron is taken. It is actually being started by Cork though. This is an all-in play here from the underdogs, but they see them not coming and they will back off for the moment. It was a nice try. Pulls them away from the Infernal Drake at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's a desperation play. It's one I can understand, but they weren't fully committed to it. If they do, but they are 10,000 gold basically behind, or 9,000 at the moment, and it's a lot of gold to be behind at 20 minutes. They're just lucky that Dundalk didn't actually force the Baron, because the fact that they had to back off and ran away, if Dundalk had just waited a little and then committed to it, Cork wouldn't have really been in a position, or they would have definitely been out of position. Would have been much harder for them to challenge for that. But we see Goose just rotating right back down to that Infernal Drake, and they're going to get that.
Just finds a little bit of time with it for himself. Means the Infernal Drake will go over to Dundalk, so they get all those extra stats as if they needed them with the way the game is going at this stage. Cork really, really desperate. They just need to find these picks, but you saw last time, going for the support was, I'd have to say it was desperation trying to take out Blaze, but Blaze played it cool, knew he had the resist from Aftershock, knew he had the redemption to make sure that he could stay alive, and it was turned on its head, and the damage coming out of Dundalk. There's no way that this comp from Cork can deal with it at this stage in the game. They just do not have the defensive stats needed.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is that they obviously were trying to focus on Michael, but he was too mobile, wasn't caught out, so they swapped over to Blaze. But the fact that they couldn't take Blaze down, you think that if they can't take him down, there's no way they can take down Costa Corda. If they can't catch out Michael, then it's really Walker Loud or Goose. But Goose is so strong and he's roaming with the team that it's a very dangerous situation. Gulag looks like he might be caught out. It's tricky. Sprinkles got his Kled in the top lane, but what they need now is a strong, engaging tank, and Kled behind is just too squishy. They're not in a great situation. What they need to do is play it safe, stall out.
Oh, the Malphite ultimate over the wall, and Krusty Pants is burst down immediately. All on the back of Costa Corda here. They're looking for Iron Pat at the front of the fight as well, and the Glacial Fissure will not be enough to save you. Mike Cool gets the kill. Costa Corda, meanwhile, is on a rampage. He is after this Kled, as he has been all game. 2 more kills for Dundalk.
Yeah, massive play coming out of the Costa Corda. They're just catching out Krusty Pants, the ADC of Cork, and they're just pushing straight into the base. I was saying what they needed to do was slow it down, farm up, and get back into the game.
You see the hook onto Gulag here. They should be able to finish him off. The damage is so quick. Walker Lad with the kill, looking for Frith as well. Goose is dominating 1v9, but his team is certainly backing him up in this game here. Teddy Sprinkles trying to make some sort of last-ditch effort. He is knocked off Scarl and will maybe soon knocked off the Rift. Does manage to get back to Fountain, but he will be watching his Nexus go down. Goes back in for one more re-engage, one last foray, but just there's no way they can deal with Dundalk right now as they just cut through the members of Cork as they come out of Fountain. Dundalk keep up their winning ways here, keep themselves alive in the race for the playoffs.
Dundalk with a dominating performance. They come out with some unusual picks, but play it so well. I mean, Goose really pushed it, caught out early on, but secures the double kill, puts out the damage. We see Costa Corda getting 2 solo kills in the top lane against the Kled. No fear, just a great performance all around from Dundalk against Cork that was actually looking better. And Dundalk must be feeling great now, looking forward to the next 2 weeks, because they are looking good, and there's a real chance that they could challenge some of the other teams for that 4th and 3rd place.
Yeah, certainly. They are 3 in a row now, I believe, in terms of wins. So they're another one of these teams who has quite a bit of momentum by taking these games back to back. I actually believe their last match is against Sligo, which could be a super interesting one. We are going to have a look at the table after today's games. We did see Team 3 actually did manage to take down Limerick off of stream. So we do have that 3-way tie for 2nd place with Dundalk and Bray Wanderers in hot pursuit.
So basically 7 onwards, it's really unlikely. Cork is the only team that might be able to get back onto it, but it's tough for Bray and Dundalk. They're really in do or die. They have to win the next 2 matches to be able to consider it, but it is so close. We can see a 3-way tie in 2nd place. It's just...
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's still with 2 weeks left of the competition, there's just so many different ways it can go, and you've got a load of important fixtures lined up over the next weeks. I'm excited, especially considering you've got teams like Dundalk who are at the bottom who could make this big comeback. You have some teams like Bray and St. Pat's who have a lot of tricky fixtures left if they want to stay in that race. So many different ways it could go.
Next week, guys, schedule is a little bit different. Check out EStars.pro to find out. I believe we are playing on Monday and Wednesday.
Monday and Thursday?
Thursday, it is Thursday. Yeah. Monday and Thursday, next week. So tune in then. We're playing 2 weeks of matches in 1 week. It is the final week of the regular split before playoffs. Everything matters. 20,000 euros on the line. It's been a great night. Thanks from us, guys. We're going to throw it over to Holly and Connor, and we'll see you on Monday.
Gentlemen, we look forward to seeing you on Monday. Now, one of the biggest rivalries anywhere in Ireland is between Dundalk and Cork. And tonight, Dundalk have come out on top. Joe, get in there. How did you manage that?
We trolled a little bit early on, but there was never any doubt that we were going to lose that game. The draft was heavily in our favour. We had Malphite and they were full AD, so we were never losing that game.
Just watching the 2 years interact and watching the 2 teams interact when it all finished there, it was a bit of a war of attrition. It was one of those things that both of you thought you had a chance to win it, but how did you get over the line?
I mean, they didn't ban the rest, so the game was already lost from there, so that's all I've got to say about that.
Right, Holly, he's gone big. He can go big now because he won.
I think that was such a crucial game. That was the one we were sort of looking forward to tonight. It was do or die. You're not quite out of playoff contention just yet, Caelan, but you must be disappointed with that result.
Yeah, it was pretty fast defeat, so it wasn't too great. But they had super good vision control, and the Malphite pick just was unexpected, so I didn't see it coming. So yeah, they got us with that.
Yeah, it was pretty clean. I mean, that's we all said the same thing. We thought this was going to be one of the tightest games of the night, and it wasn't in the end. So looking forward, what are you hoping to build upon after that performance?
We'll just have a fun time and try our best during the rest of the few games. So.
It's not totally out of playoff contention just yet. I mean, a clean sweep after this might just push you up there into the final.
That was going to be my question. How are you going to do that?
I don't know. I have to come up with some cheesy picks. So hopefully we can do it. But
keep it alive. Keep the confidence.
Yeah, exactly. I think some other teams have to lose for us to actually get into playoffs. So banking on them too.
You're going to be watching those games very, very tightly. But have you enjoyed it all the same?
Oh yeah, it's been great. Yeah, it's been fun every week. So.
Brilliant. Look, we've loved having them as well.
It's been brilliant having you here. And look, it's not finished yet by any means. You're still thereabouts. The big surprise, it's weird. Dundalk's, I suppose, journey in this has gone from massive favourite, right? Couple of really surprising results. One very specific bad hammering that you got, and everyone went, whoa, Dundalk maybe aren't in this. And the last 3 weeks, you've kind of gone, right, it's time to sort this out. You and your multi-captains, you share the captain's armband around a little bit. How have you come back, and how have you ended up being one of the top teams now?
At the very start, we had some, I guess, in just team problems, maybe attitudes and stuff like that. But once we got those ironed out and focused on the game, focused on improved, the past few weeks, we've really improved a lot. So, yeah, I think we're really got a chance to win this now.
Look, we wish you well as well. But before we go this evening, one of, let's just say, Holly's, how can I put this? One of Holly's
What did I do?
soft spots
Oh.
unfortunately got defeated tonight in Limerick. Okay?
Yes, we weren't streaming this game live, so you might not be able to watch it. But Limerick once again were defeated tonight on their own turf to
Right.
make it even worse.
So no, forget about the game, right? Let's
Okay.
talk about your soft spot, okay? When we're together alone as a couple at night, sometimes his name is brought up, not as pillow talk, but just because, well, I'll let you explain.
I don't really know where you were going
we'll
with
shuffle
that.
this way.
But I always
We'll
am rooting for Norbert. Norbert, get
Norbert,
in here,
come
get
in
in
here.
here.
There's
And
a
this
ring.
is why, ladies and gentlemen, this is why, dressed tonight on home turf, Norbert, captain of Limerick. What an outfit. This is just something to behold.
Turn around,
Give us a
Norbert.
twirl,
Look,
give us a
look,
twirl.
look, look.
Swords included. Now, you might all be able to guess who exactly he is. It took me a while when you first came in.
It's the hair.
Katarina, but it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. I didn't do anything else but make it over the week. But like, it seems to me that all the teams are afraid of me, and I think I smell fear.
I think I get why, Norbert, if I'm totally
Yeah.
honest with you. I don't think it's just the teams that are terrified. How long did this take you?
Just over a week. The second we came back from last Wednesday, I was talking how I might do something for this,
Can I
and I
have a
just
sword?
started.
Can I have a sword? Sure. Sorry, I just want to have a sword.
And I just started working on it, going to different shops, craft shops, just buying supplies and all.
What I particularly like was this once just like a school bag?
No, this was just a belt. It's very useful because you can just hot glue like little stands.
Oh,
and then you can
Holly, take a sword. Take a sword.
Yeah, you can.
Take a sword.
I don't want to
Norbert is
disrupt
encouraging
the sword.
sword
I don't
taking.
want to disrupt the... Okay, I can, are you sure?
Okay, she's taking a sword. All right. So Katarina is represented because not only because of the hair, the little hair clip I noticed as well. Look at that.
Yep,
and,
the little
and-
haircut.
and the full outfit.
I tried having some like eyeliner too, as it has the scar by count.
I noticed that it was almost. It was a bit like Harry Potter almost.
Yeah, a bit like Harry Potter.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for being brilliant. And
It looks incredible. Can we just all have a...
Yeah, yeah.
I think Katarina does it
Listen,
slightly better than
thanks
that.
to
It's not
everybody
great.
for listening and indeed watching this evening. We can only but encourage you to get yourself on to ticketmaster.ie. If you want to get tickets for the grand final, it is happening on May the 13th in Dublin's 3 Arena. We're expecting thousands there. Get your tickets now at ticketmaster.ie. And over the next 2 fixtures, which are next Monday and Thursday, your chance to win yourself a batch of goodies as well.
It's
courtesy
just
of
so
3 Ireland's
hard to
EStars.
believe that we are into the final week. We've been through this journey over the last 7 weeks. I mean, we have got 2 major fixtures still to come, as we've just been discussing with Dundalk and Cork, that the competition could still be wide open to get that place in the grand final at the 3 Arena on May 13th. It's nearly upon us.
Yeah, it is. For all the details, if you want to read up on how all these games went this week, get yourself on to EStars.pro. All the information's there, all the reviews, all the previews, everything ahead of next week, and Ticketmaster.ie. Come and see us on May the 13th. And remember, this is not a game.
En garde!
Oh dear. This is definitely not a game. Taxi! Taxi!